back, fellow Siege spectators and players. History doesn't wait, it calls, and we are here. The Siege Double Shot back at it. Last chance on the road to SI. I am the Reverend Whiskey Glitter, and with me, as always, my partner and co-host on the desk, Mr. Whiskey Run. What's up, Whiskey?
Welcome back, everyone, and honestly, crazy. I love the fact that in Siege, anybody can literally make it to the 6 Invitational. They have got a hell of a hard road ahead of them, though. 2 weeks of open qualifiers here in NA, and then that's just the start. Those are the open qualifiers to get into closed, where they're going to have to face Pro League teams. And honestly, they're going to have to face Pro League teams in the open as well because of the crazy scenario we have. Envy and LFO, both of the teams from that are in that relegation spot, have to fight through the open qualifier for their spot in closed. And we're going to follow the story of one of those teams for sure today. And man, we're going to talk more about the format, but the game, just a couple minutes away, we get to see Envy taking on Reno Skyline.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, right, Run? You said it right out the gate. We are at the T1 tippy top with newish addition to Pro League's team, Envy, bringing on JJ, Mike W, Ivan, Rival, and Packer. This is going to be a great game.
Yeah, and a big change up there, obviously, in the lineup for sure, with Mike W. at winning a part of that the Spoit Invitational, and then joining Packer on this NV roster. So it's JJ, the core of this team, holding it together, but a lot of new faces as they move into hopefully qualifying here for the 6th Invitational in Paris in February.
That's right, other side of it, Reno Skyline. It's a name you've seen around the scene. A T3 team trying to make a name for itself. Nice guy Jake Flinties snapped HK2 and Calico recently all over Twitter. So yeah, got some fun names on the T3 side of things and trying to get some T1 aspirations, but they gotta get through Envy first, Run.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough battle, and the big question was, were we going to see Fortress here as a part of the new map ban, because Fortress is in? But the answer is no, we are not going to see it. Envy going to take that opportunity to take it off the board, along with Border Consulate, Chalet. Unfortunately, we're not going to see Layer either, and then coming down to Clubhouse, which honestly I'm not surprised about. Teams love to play Clubhouse.
Yeah, it's where the good teams go to die, right? Envy's a good team. We'll see if they've got what it takes here on this one. Run, this is going to be a good game, and we're headed to a default map to get this one done. And if I had to guess, I think we're just about there. Now, one of the special treats that we're bringing it to you today is it's not just going to be your standard double shot cast. We actually brought in the soothing sounds, the dulcet tones of Mr. Zek. Zek, welcome to the cast.
Soothing sounds, dulcing tones.
That is the greatest moment in my life.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, both of you, Run, Glitter. I'm really looking forward to this matchup. You know, Reno Skyline, this is the team I've seen fighting through over in some other leagues against some other really great teams. I remember last time I casted Reno Skyline, they were against SSG ACAD's team. Now coming here against, what would be the equivalent of SSG's primary team, Envy, a T1 team, a top-tier team. This is really going to be an uphill battle, but it's one that I feel like this is going to be a team that can rise to that challenge. We're coming off the rip right out of the gate. We see a couple bands coming in through. Envy getting rid of that breach denial. They want to pop walls. They want to get on in. They want to make sure that they are getting to this site nice and quick with the attacker-favored meta. I can see that happening right here as we go on down to our first site in the basement. Opposite side, Reno Skyline, though. Hey, you know the Monty. You get rid of that shield, that wedge that gets on board, that spearhead of the offense, and then kind of counteract the breach, the thermite off the board. So no big breaches, but a couple of operators who have seen some buffs, some changes here in the recent week. Habana, Maverick, 2 operators I'm going to have my eyes on. One of them picked up right here.
You know what? I didn't even think about that run. It's not just Fortress is the new map it's out. We've got some operator changes. They're going to change the way this game is played. Thermite, he gets his third hard breach charge. Habana now doesn't have to reload to open it up. And just to say that, you know, you are seeing that right. That is our president, Mike W., on the side of Envy, looking to make a name for himself. And you know what, Run? SI's a really good place to do that.
Yeah, crazy that's going to be one of the first places that we see this roster coming together to see how they're going to play it out. So, I mean, starting here on attack for Envy, honestly, love that. Looking to make a statement. Reno Skyline is going to have to work very hard, it feels like, to show what they've got here against a very good T1 team. And you said it. I mean, fresh off the victory, we talked about this Floyd T2 tournament. Mike W. is that guy. The one that didn't play, though, as a part of the roster that ended up winning, Ivan. And so this is his opportunity to get on stream, get in front of the players. It's going to be the first one that goes down, though.
Man, that's a tough place to find yourself, right when you're getting hyped up, right when the talk starts to happen, and then you're going to lose your life on the stream. So a couple of trades ring out. Goyo's gone, Ram's gone. You're asking, what's the question, or you're asking the question, what is the better trade there, right? Well, you know what? Goyo's got his stuff down. Yes, you lose a Vector, but you on the other side of it, you're effectively taking down a ton of that hard breach. In fact, most of it currently. This is an interesting mirror setup we've seen utilized before on the right side of Church. While they did opt to take the rotate completely down now into this last 60 seconds, and there's going to be a shot that rings out. Calico takes one, but it's going to be immediately returned as JJ takes Flinty off the board. So now into a 3-3, a C4 that rings out. Mike W to find one, Rival to get one going as well, and now it's going to be up to Calico to get this one done. A 1v3 as the plant starts going down, and it's flashes galore as he just can't get out of generator just yet. A quick swing, and Mike W is going to take him off the board.
Man, that was really clean. You're watching right now from Envy. They're pushing on in. They really, you know, you lost your Ram, all right? Kind of a little bit down on the vert, not too much of an issue. That push through dirt, that spearhead's still there. Your Blackbeard, who's sitting behind him? I don't know, the entire rest of Envy. They were able to walk right into site and get on in, take site control, and I think that was a big thing for Envy right there. Reno Skyline, they got first pick. They got some man advantage right there. They got some good damage as well onto another member of Envy. Just weren't able to find the rest of the pieces, and honestly, I do think the big thing was letting Envy walk on in through that dirt. You had the Goyos up. How can we alleviate that next time? Not going to see a rerun of that basement site. This is a best of one, so I'm sure teams want to try to get as much feel of multiple different areas as they can, see if they can throw the other team for a loop. Going to go up towards this gym bedroom side instead. I'm expecting a lot of roam, maybe some excite extension. We can see already Reno Skyline making their way over towards CC, making their way over to this cache side. They're going to seal it up. I wouldn't be surprised seeing somebody play over on rafters, play over in this area in garage to try to deny a quick push in from Envy. But I mean, a quick push in from Envy can be just that if they decide to head straight towards the site. Not going to opt for him. Habani don't really need that. I'm sure they were expecting a basement run, going to pick up the ace instead. Of this time around, you got some soft breach with the sledge over on Packer to go and knock things down. But the one thing I do want to point out is this Deimos pick on Rival. This is an operator who I feel like if you have the gun skill, and let's be honest, a tier 1 roster is going to have the gun skill to operate this operator. You can I don't want to keep saying operator.
I know. I love it.
3 times in a row right
Operate
there.
the operator, and it's operating.
Yeah. You know, utilize this character to get that information to track down the roam on such a roam-heavy map. You're looking at Clubhouse being so wide, and Rival finds the opening one, like I said.
Yeah, it was a good answer, and you know what? You're right. He's just going to get in. He's going to take space, and in this case, it is going to see the Jaeger taken off the board. One of the things that I'd like to highlight here, when we were going through the bans, you know, normally your stock standard, you're getting rid of Ace, and then potentially your Spearhead. But this time, because of that change, Thermite is the first hard breach off the board, especially because now if you don't take him, he can effectively do all of the boxes, check all of the boxes that you want to on attack as far as getting everything open, right? He can open up that cache CCTV, he can open up construction, he can open up the main wall, and, you know, just a force to be reckoned with. Packer's able to take one off the board, Rival able to find a second onto the round run. It's just falling apart real quick now.
Yeah, down into a 1v5 here before you guys even really finish talking about the last round. That's crazy. Half the round gone, more than half the Skyline team follows along with it. So Flinty's going to be in a tough spot here, holding a shoddy. I mean, they had a decent setup there to start, but a little bit too heavy of a roam game. Losing the ones, and well, it's going to be Packer that is the one to find it there. Man, I love the new Reaper and the change that has made in the game so far. A lot of people opting to change up the load-ups as a result, and you said it. Thermite, he's the one that seems like needs to be banned now. That third exothermic is going to completely change the way that Hard Breach is played.
We're watching a lot of teams who look towards this, as a lot of people say, shield crutch meta, shield heavy meta, whatever you want to call it, meta. You know, they're going, do we ban away the shields? Do we get rid of the Monty? Okay, we get rid of the Monty, they have Blitz. Get rid of the Blitz. Okay, get rid of that. They have Blackbeard. Okay, that'll be our third ban. Oh, well, what about Osa? What about Fuse Shield? There's so many options, so that's where we see a lot of teams switch in towards, let's get rid of the Heart Breach. Now, being obviously the Thermite is one of the primary ones. Ace, as you mentioned, you're going to have that safe breach from the range. Hibana, so relevant on this map. Another safe breach character. Okay, well, what about Maverick? All right, the Tuberound counter, the Bandit Trick counter. There's just a lot of things right now that are starting to simulate on, do we try to deny a style of play, or do we try to deny a style of play that works against our setup, our defense in this instance, or Reno Skyline? I think that's what I kind of want to be looking forward to once we get throughout this bracket, once we get into SI, how our team's going to start to transition from this, okay, these are standard ban style, into this just doesn't work against what we're trying to do, so let's clear it on out of here. Going on into round number 3, now it's going to be the last round before we see what these teams are finding out to be the true difficulty, the biggest issue for them that they want to ban away in the second ban phase, though. And I mean, what else to really say? You got the ace back on the table for Envy. You're trying to flush people out. That's what I really look at with this draft, with the Capital, with the Flores. You're going to send in those Flores drones to try to push somebody out of a location, use the Capital fire, and then just move your way on in. All I see from Envy, flush them out into positions where we can get them in our line of fire and let our gun skill do the rest of the work.
Let the guns do the talking. I think that is going to be one of the big picks here, and something that probably Envy's going to be leaning into. That's what happens when you're going against some of those T3 teams, T4 teams, is, you know, you just kind of don't even have to strat. The micro game of bans doesn't really have to exist, and you can just get in, punch them straight in the face, and take that space.
Well, it's definitely better to let the guns do the talking than Twitter, for sure. Let's see what happens here when we get into the server. And Envy is showing up in a big way already, starting off with 2 on their side. Calco's going to find that opening pick. They did manage, Skyline did find the opening pick on round 1. We're not able to convert that to a round win. Not necessarily the win condition for sure. But it's interesting that Skyline has not rotated around, or has chosen to rotate around from the site choice. They're not staying, you know, like trying to replay any of the sites. They're following what feels like more of a game day scenario. Run the rotation exactly the way you want to see it, and holy cow, a flawless as a result. Jeez, what a play. The Rafters was just unclearable.
That tends to be where they found some success. Zek, all of a sudden, they go to the Tersh site here, and they find themselves a fucking beautiful round.
It was insanely beautiful. I'm looking at him like, what does Reno Skyline need to kind of push themselves through? Okay, well, first off, there's an Azami on the board on Clubhouse. Where is the Azami? It's Garage Rafters. Let's be entirely honest. She's posting up there, getting those Giba barriers down, and just going at you with pixel angles. Beautifully done by Reno Skyline to get that position, to hold that position. I think that's the bigger thing. I was talking about the clear out from Envy, the Flores, the Capital. Okay, that's nice and all, but they weren't able to get in. They weren't able to clear out that Azami. She sat up there the entire time. Meanwhile, the rest of Reno Skyline just putting on a clinic. This is just night and day from round 1 and round 2. I would watch that round 1. I was like, okay, you know, Reno Skyline, they're getting some picks. They're looking pretty solid. And Envy just kind of had a better offense, had a better idea of what they wanted to do. Round number 2, it just felt like Envy's gun skill was taking control. Look at that round number 3, a flawless round for Reno Skyline. This shows that there is life, there is a lot of potential. Second wave of bands come on through. It's going to be the Mira, pretty staple pick, I would say, across the majority of maps, across the majority of sites on most maps as well. A great anchor pickup, that vector in close range being so dominant, and then obviously having vision of your enemy through a window, determining when you want to peek, when you don't want to peek, and just kind of watch them do funny things is always great. Opposite side, the Capital, going to be the last one removed by Reno Skyline. I guess even they were looking at it as what was the biggest issue for us on what might be our best site here on Clubhouse. Maybe it is that offsite. It's going to be the person who's going to flush you out of positions that you don't want to be in. That's going to allow Reno Skyline to control the pace of the game, okay? Big but, look over at Envy's draft right now, a total switch up, all right? You're bringing in this Blackbeard again, gonna have that as your spearhead, but that's not the one that concerns me. I see Ying on the board, all right? Anytime I see Ying on the board, this is execution heavy, this is run and gun, get on in there, start flashing, drop on in, we're gonna get this plant off. That's what I want to be keeping my eye on for Envy in this round as they bounce back from the last one. You flawless us there, let's show you our aggression. Reno Skyline, they have to stay steadfast, they have to make sure that they don't allow Envy to control the pace of the round. I think that's going to determine Reno Skyline's, well, remainder of this first half.
That's a good point, right? Pace is such a huge part of the game, and you know, you see some operators brought out to do just that. Some area denial they doubled up on. They've got the Banshees out. The thing is you know, you're gonna see that aggression out of Envy. They're gonna push through no matter what is going on. Kind of just again trusting in that gun skill. You can see they've already checked some big boxes. Part of that vertical's done. They've got some damage onto Calico into the bottom. Now they're putting some shots back up through the floor, but in the worst for wear situation, Calico sits and put a bullet.
Yeah, trying to keep that Azami alive long enough to be able to do some of that same damage she did in the rafters. Problem is, man, I've got the Blackbeard pushing down here through dirt. Got a decent setup. This was a very good execute there for the Envy team as expected, and Skyline feels like they're a little bit more prepared for it this time, at least downstairs. I'm worried that they do not have enough utility or play to slow this team down upstairs. They managed to kill almost 2 minutes of time, but look at this. They go for the Blackbeard. He doesn't necessarily have to take down either of these players. Just waste the time.
Yeah, and Just is going to be overwhelmed there as they do take JJ off the board. One gets traded out, the second to follow is presidential Mike W is going to find that double kill, and now the Candelas start to ring through, and here it is. Packer on tech with the shotgun. He's going to take the swing, but HK has something to say about it. Ivan to find one. Calico onto Ivan with the Goyo canister that goes down, and when the dust settles, 43 seconds left, we're left in a 2-2, but it's the plant. It's starting to go down. They find another one. His rival's able to take Calico. The cross is set. Now you got yourself a situation where you got to try to find a retake, and it is going to be impossible with Rival holding on to the headshot.
I'm watching right now from Reno Skyline. They want to knock out that Blackbeard. That's cool. This is the spearhead of the Envy's aggression, especially on this basement site. We saw it back on round number 1. We saw it again right here on round number 4. How do we get this guy out of here? He was all by himself. Well, I don't know if funneling into him in this tight quarter was our best case scenario. We got him down. We didn't lose any lives, but what was the cost? Look at the amount of HP loss on the side of Reno Skyline, the amount of dedication that they put into getting down this Blackbeard, and then immediately you try to rotate back to site. Envy has Vert. They are able to clear you on down. They have the angles. They're pushing on in from multiple different sides. And then comes the cleanup. I think right now from Reno Skyline, utilize that patience, control the pace like we were talking about. Could we have maybe thrown a smoke nade over into the back to try to cut off the Blackbeard's escape route? They'd allow him to take this kind of tick damage and force him into a difficult position. We saw that your tick damage was obviously doing well. You got to kill with the Goyos. I mean, they're gonna run on into your utility. You have it, might as well utilize it for the best that it is. One thing coming in here in this round that I see from Reno Skyline to take advantage is that Ella. I've been seeing this pickup on the rise lately to try to handle these shield players, and I'm wondering if Envy was kind of looking at that and saying, all right, you know what, maybe we don't really want to run a shield this time around. We're not going to see that on the board. Another switch up from Envy's draft. Not the execution heavy style. You got the running gun with the Ash. You're still going to be popping open some walls over there with the Habana, the vert control with the Ram. So I like what I'm seeing with Envy of we're going to keep Reno Skyline on their toes. Reno Skyline, they had potential in that last round, and now it's going to come down to finding those holes, closing this out, doing things a little bit cleaner. The pieces are there. Let's let them fall into place.
So who's going to make the first mistake seems to be the theme here as they get started. We've seen Reno grab those early man advantages, but having a little bit of a tougher job closing those out. So the switch up onto the Ella, the comfort pick there. I like it. We've been seeing it a lot. Feels like it could be a difference maker if you brought somebody that you're supposed to counter with it. Right now you're just sitting into that comfort gun area. Run it. We saw it in the chat talking about that newest gun. There are a few stipulations around that one.
Yeah, that's right. You can run the new DMR on any of the 3 operators or 4 operators that have the ability to play the new one, but the problem is there is definitely a bug associated with that DMR, and it does cause game crashes. The original guidance was just don't play it. If you play the DMR and you have a game crash, you will not be able to use it as a tech issue for your side. You can use your 1 team rehost per map to be able to use that and reset if you choose to play the gun. But honestly, in a single elimination best of 1 bracket to decide if you're going to the 6th invitational, man, that is not a chance I'm willing to take. There are still other DMRs available on the attacking side. Plus, you haven't had a ton of time to be able to prep with that new one. That is a risk that is certainly not worth taking, it feels like, for what is at stake for this match.
Already down to that last 65 seconds as you can see some of those environmental ingredients getting taken down as they're now getting into that 3-2-1 mode, right? Run is they've checked all the boxes, they've claimed the vertical, they've done everything except find that first entry pick. And there it is, going to be Flinty off the board and shot on a nice guy Jake as well as now they just start collapsing onto side. A return to fire though, Calico onto Packer, but not to be outdone. Rival and Ivan both to find one, and when the dust settles, it's all going to be up to that aforementioned Ella alone on an island in a 1v4. And when you're coming up against Mike W, you don't want to be in a 1v1 scenario. They claim another round.
Watching Reno Skyline, I'm going to say first thing, let's just not allow Envy to go to this basement site. You have these higher level teams, these high tier teams, these pro level teams. In this instance, they see this site all the time, all right? It's no unfamiliar territory. I think that might have been one of the benefits to Reno Skyline over on round number 3. We don't often go towards CC Cash. I mean, yes, it is one of the bigger played sites, but not anywhere near as that second floor master bedroom, not anywhere near as the basement. These are 2 sites we see all the time. We're gonna practice on them all the time, and a pro level team is practicing all the time. So, do we take them towards something that will catch them off? Here we're going back over to that CC Cash. Maybe Reno Skyline will be able to see a rebound back on in, get a nice 4-2 half, do what they did over on round number 3 to get them into this instance. They are going to be running back that Azami, Catcher and Raptors. You're gonna see her there. Castle to go and try to funnel in some of the members of Envy, and that Aruni gate as well. Gonna just a little bit of slowdown, a little bit of just, I want to say lane control, you know, flow control maybe of the map, just forcing Envy into points where they can get control. I was talking earlier about Envy playing things like the floors and Happy Town to force people in towards their line of sight. Oh, Reno Skyline is doing kind of similar on the defensive side of things. No, they're not pushing people out of areas with anything like nades, nitros, whatever, to get them into gunfights, you know, but they are going to be controlling how the players move through the map from Envy. That's something I want to be keeping my eyes on through here, and then the smoke to just allow that sort of flush somebody into a position into the gunfire once people get in close towards site. I am seeing Reno Skyline get closer to site. That is one thing. As these rounds are going on, they are getting closer to site and not stretching out as far. They're not roaming as far. You don't see as much of a site extension.
Yeah, it's a nice play here on the Tersh site. Extends downstairs, really kind of reduce your footprint and hold on to those critical push point areas. And that's exactly what we're seeing here with the double architect setup on Azami and Castle. But look at this. Already, Ivan has made his way into the bedroom, looking to take a first peek as those hard breaches start to go off. Could see that, that potential for the first kill lining up within that first, or still with 2 minutes left onto the board. Big push part here, Run. It's going to be that catwalk they tried to get to last time.
Yeah, they really struggled to gain any sort of catwalk control of that previous time. But I think Zach made a great point, right? This Envy attack team, very, very good, especially in a 1v1 scenario. When they get too spread out, when they go a little bit too roam heavy and invite the 1v1 gunfights off site, that's exactly where Envy is going to thrive. So I think it's a great point to have Reno start to step back a little bit, play a little bit closer to site, where not only you can, at least give yourself a little bit more of a defensive stronghold, but also back each other up and hopefully force a 2v1 with this Envy attack team coming in. The problem is that, you're stuck in a position where Envy can collapse the execute all around you and overwhelm you with force, but still think that's better, at least the way the game's been going so far, than taking the ones.
Mike W with a little bit of damage, but all 5 alive on both sides as we get to the just under a minute mark left. 45 as it counts down to be exact, and everything has been checked here by Team Envy. JJ's gonna find that first kill as they go for a bit of a run out. And Mike W does go down, but also so does the plant as the Sens has got in. Packer just gonna go ahead and stick this thing now into a post plant, a run out. They're gonna get the down onto a zombie, and it just starts to fall apart. JJ's on to the triple kill as he's looking to find an ace to end it. Rival gonna deny that. Now it's gonna be the position on red, a power spot. No good gas canisters left in hand. We're looking at a 5-1 split here, Run, and it is feeling like it's all coming up Envy in this one.
Flawless round. Honestly, watching it back, you look at the last time we were on this site, flawless for Reno Skyline. This time, flawless for Envy. They got control and they made sure they checked off every single box. We're getting the line of sights. We're going to move in nice and steady. Aggressive offense takes as much ground as they can, takes as much map control as they can. Glitter, you mentioned very quickly how that Ash got in very deep, all the way into master bedroom, and was pushing towards that connector. That's the thing that I'm going to be looking for. When you do sink back towards site, as Reno Skyline was doing, as we were talking about, you allow for something like that to happen. Your teams are going to be sitting there droning ahead for their teammates, and that's going to allow your running gun, in this case, the Ash, get on in there nice and quickly. She knows when she needs to have gun up. She knows when she can just shift W and get on close towards site, take as much ground as you can. And now all of a sudden you're knocking on site door. Now all of a sudden Reno Skyline was finding themselves like, okay, well, they're right here. Now they're just cracking open the walls. Now we can't really move any which way because we're stuck. We are pinned on down. It's going to be a timeout coming in from Reno Skyline, and I don't blame them in this instance. We talked about how aggressive offense is right now. Now, how can aggressive defense match that? I think this is going to be a really good showing from Envy to sit there and see if they can kind of put towards the aggressive defense style. I think we saw it a little early from Reno Skyline, where they were going for those extensions. They were going for those peaks. They were going for a little bit more roams. I gotta say, even with a double run out right there in that last round, they are still looking for those aggressive opportunities, but it needs to come earlier. It needs to be a little bit more... Is concise the right word I want to be using?
Kind of, right? You're wanting to be have more intention with what it is that you're doing. It seems kind of that Reno has got an idea of what they want to do, but when it comes down to the actual implementation of that strat, the overwhelming force that is Team Envy is just kind of overriding all of those things. Yes, you want to hold Zone A. Yes, you want to hold Zone B, but when Envy is on their 3-2-1, after they've already had a magnificent push-pull, then all of a sudden you find yourself down 3 people in the man advantage trying to recoup your zones, and that's just a tough place to find it. And because of that, we still 5-1.
5-1, but moving into the second half. The bans do come on through. It is going to be that breach denial again from Reno Skyline, this time similar that Envy did, and Envy honestly going to run a very similar ban phase for themselves. They're going to get rid of the Monty, but instead of the Thermite, who can get up towards that wall, as that next breach charge, it's going to be the Ace, I want to say, primary breach character for the offense for, well, since his release, having that ranged ability, being able to pop things open, and nice and fluid, that safe breach capability, I think, was a big opener for that character. The speed at which he could get it off as well. I'm curious how teams are going to be shifting with Cabana being able to not have to reload anymore, which we do see Calico picking that one up as well. So you got that safe breach potential on the board for Reno Skyline. They have the Deimos to track people on down. You have Grim Bees to sit there and track people as well. So there's a lot of information gathering potential from Reno Skyline. Flush them out with the Cappy now right into our bullets as we see Reno starting to take the vote.
That was a good point that Canadian made during during one of the Spoit games we watched is that when the teams ban, the defense bans the ranged breach operators like the Ace and the Hibana, that makes the mirror play significantly more valuable. And that's what, right? Get rid of the Ace to make Packers play on the Mira a little bit more valuable. They're thinking they can probably defend against the Hibana, make sure that those stay open just a little bit longer. Very powerful position to play, and yeah, they're going to have to watch out for it.
All right, so now we've got some win conditions settled here, and it's a bit of an uphill climb for Reno as we find ourselves just inside of that last 2 minutes of round number 7 and on the precipice of a match point scenario, so definitely starting to put some pressure on an attacking team to find some of those early picks, to take some of that early glory and see if they can capitalize on it. Currently, we're all holed up here in Church Run. Everybody's solidified back downstairs for that bunker hold.
Well, they work on getting that thing set up. I know there was a lot of questions about who was qualified into close. So Dark Zero, Oxygen, and Cloud9, the reason they are not in the open qualifiers is they have a spot in closed qualifiers already as a part of that setup. The other teams in play, Core Gaming, or the X-Core roster, which is, the guys that we're facing off against in Element 6. They get a closed qualifier spot because of their win in E5, and then the winner of Element 6, which we're going to see next weekend, also gets a spot, and that leaves the 3 from the open qualifier. So Dark Zero, Oxygen, Cloud9 all do not need to play open because they already have a spot in closed.
Shots. Packer and Mike W find their life forfeit here for this last 30 seconds, but they've still held on to some critical space here. A quick swing is going to see JJ go down. Ivan going to find one, but HK going to answer back. Now into a 1v4. Going to leave 7-1 rival on the board to try to get it done. He finds one in the climb back, but overwhelming force there as they just collapse upon him and are able to fill him with enough bolts to get the job done. That's a little bit closer in settling up this scoreline, Zach.
Reno Skyline looking at that one, showing us that offense is the name of the game right now, and that neither team should be probably going towards these primary sites that we see all the time. We see them all the time. Let's get on in there. Come on, we know exactly what we need to do. I think that's what Envy's saying. That's what Reno Skyline's saying. All right, cool. Let's maybe switch things on up a little bit. Gonna go up towards the second floor gym bedroom. Kind of similar situation that Reno Skyline ended up doing as well. All right, let's move around to the different sites. Let's get a feel for other places. You know, Reno Skyline, they were able to get the pop open. It was nice. It was fluid, and I do want to have them go into similar what I was saying about what Envy did to Reno Skyline over on the second time we were up there a couple rounds ago when we were over on CC Cash. The second time we felt like Reno Skyline was getting closer and closer to the site. As I was mentioning, Envy being over close towards that site, it allowed Reno Skyline to take as much ground as they wanted right out of the rip. You allow them to do that and they're sitting right on site, or okay, cool, we can open up as much vert as we want, we can open up as many head holes as we want, we can try to create some line of sights wherever we want, and it allows them to sit there and just ice the defense. I think that's a really good way I could put that, is just make them kind of feel pressure, phantom pressure from every single angle, feeling like if I step this way too far, I'm gonna get shot from that angle. Oh, well then I end up stepping into a completely different angle and get picked off instead. Those are the things I want to be keeping my eye on. Reno Skyline here. Now they got one round, the first round of their offense. Can they maintain that? They're picking up it's this time around. Mike W said we're done with that though. I'm gonna show you how we aggress.
Tough, right? Keeping nice guy Jake on that 0-6 scoreline. That's just a mental chocker here, especially for game number 1. And that's half your hard breach done. So that kind of ploy that you were just talking about, Zach, where we're going to open up everything, the open sesame strat, if you will, gets a little bit more difficult when you get that hard breach off the table. So in the game where patience is key and you can hold an angle to take some of these better players off the board, get a little bit harder when you can't open that stuff up.
Whew, man. Hey, you know, when when we were talking about the winners of that Element 5 back earlier in the year, they're now playing under the Alix name. I could not remember why I could not remember that team name, but interesting that both E5 and E6 got spots directly into the closed qualifier. That to me feels like we're going to see a little bit of change in the T2 side, if the and really a support of the T2 scene for from Blast, right, to give the T2 winners a direct spot into closed. It feels like the right play. Gives you a little less opportunity for all of these open teams, and it's definitely interesting in the way that the relegation side of this is played out. So it feels like there's a bunch of things that still need to be worked out. But on the Reno Skyline side, they're going to have to figure out how to work this out very quickly. Feels like they are starting to waste just a little bit too much time getting themselves set up, locked down from the Envy side. Big extension over on Cash CC, and Reno has not been able to penetrate over on this at all. Their push onto red falls apart.
Yeah, that was a tough one, right? Just completely stymied in their approach as Blitz was just hung up on the doorways, not sure which area he could even get into because they've got the bases covered here. So that linear approach, not going to work as well. Arrival's able to take one down, and now is the last 44 seconds here. It's again going to be all up to HK in a 1v4 to try to bring this one back, and he's alone on an island out on the highway. Diffuser's down inside of the offsite, and well, honestly, Run, this is a no-win situation here.
Oh, man, down to that last 25 seconds. HK, is he going to be able to pull this off? I mean, it'd have to be a freaking miracle at this point. He's playing Deimos. He's got a little bit of intel. 3 of those drones still in play, but there's no way he's going to be able to use them. Going to give his position away. So, faux timeout going in to what is going to be match point for Envy. And Reno's got their work cut out for them.
Never want to see that, right? You find yourself on a 6-2 in the very first game. I mean, honestly, you know, if you're a T3 team, you don't want to see yourself going up against T1 talent. This is a tough bracket just to start us out. But now you have a huge mountain to climb in the 6-2. I'm talking you got to be perfect for 4, and you got to do it against a defense who has been there and done that. So what's the win con, Zach? What does Reno do to try to bring this one back here in this best of 1?
I think they need to look at what Envy did right there in that last round and what they did in the first round of their defense. And honestly, what we've been saying throughout the first half of this, when Reno Skyline was on defense, I'm going to triple down at this point, okay? When a defensive team is so tight-knit in towards site and allows the offense to take as much map control as they want, you get Exhibit A, round 1 of this second half. First round of the defensive side for Envy, okay? Now you look at the other side of the coin. One little thing, one little person being not where he's supposed to be, being out on the ordinary, getting an aggressive pick, getting a spawn peek, getting a run out, maybe he's ranting in a corner, I don't care, pull out the copper strats because they work, you know what I'm saying? Show me aggressive defense, and all of a sudden it changes the game. You talked about it being a kind of a mental check for Nice Guy Jake, finding himself in a difficult position where he is 0-6 right now. I want to say it was a mental check for the entire Reno Skyline. Anytime you're sitting there and you get somebody on your team who gets spawn peeked, gets picked off within the first 20 to 30 seconds in the round, all of a sudden just puts you on a complete stop. What's going on? What are we doing? You know, all of a sudden you find yourself in this difficult position where you need to completely reevaluate your entire strategy because you have to play this like you are a man down. You have to play this like a core member of your team is not there because, well, a core member of your team wasn't there. That wall opener, that thermite not on the board. It's going to come up to Reno Skyline. I think the key piece that they need is understand that Envy is willing to play this aggressive defense. They're willing to go for the peaks. They're going to go for the runouts. They're going to rat in corners. They're going to catch you off guards. So don't let those things catch you off guard. Check all the boxes on a fluid offense. Get aggressive at the same time.
On the attack side here, Run, we see the shield postured outside of that secret blue area to go in once that final go button gets hit. But unfortunately, Calico's going to find his live forfeit, and that's going to be a big part of how they were going to try to take some of that pivotal space and push some of those people out of those critical push point positions. Run, you take the Capitol off the board, now you're down in the man advantage, and now you're playing catch-up again.
Tough position to find yourself in, obviously. And we said earlier that the opening pick didn't seem like it had been the win condition for the most part, but certainly when you were talking about Skyline on attack, on Clubhouse, against Pro League Envy, Yeah, it feels more significant in this case, so they are going to have to be very careful the way they approach these next 25 seconds into that final minute. They've got a shield in play. Need to make sure that they get all of these sight lines open, and that's a great way to start. But JJ answers back in a big way. Man, putting this at 3-3 as we get down to this final minute. I mean, Flinty's playing here on this the Blitz. Feels like it's at least a piece of what they need, but with Mike W playing the Tachanka, he has got so much area denial in pocket for this final minute of gameplay.
Yeah, you know I'm a D1 Tachanka hater, but when in the hands of somebody like Mike W, it definitely gets to be a more formidable thought, right? All of a sudden, areas are denied. You still have a C4 in the hands of Packer, and we still have 3 Kiva barriers in the hands of Rival right now, who sits, mind you, 10-2. Definitely part of the win con. Mike W able to find another one and solidify his hold on it, as well as now he gets into that another one that just falls apart, right? The C4 rings out. Blitz absolutely toasted, even though we're flashed up. Mike W, unafraid, takes the swing from the mirror, and it is going to be a GG in the all chat run. We just saw Team Envy hit a 7-2 against Reno as they're going to start marching forward in this last chance qualifier.
Dramatic win, obviously, for this team. A 7-2 victory. You said it. Man, what a play for him to be able to come out and, I mean, shut down. Reno had a good shot, right? It's round 1. That's the unfortunate part. Single elimination, best of 1 bracket means you have got a single opportunity to try to make something happen. And you had a tough opponent to start off with. This bracket feels a little bit biased, putting both Envy and LFO on the same side of the bracket. So we're going to see them very early in this battle. But Envy moves on. And I think we got to check what's coming up next, because if Nyx's team won, we were going to see the Envy v Nyx game coming up next.
Like that. I'm here for it. Yeah, I think that'd be a good game. Okay, chat, you know the deal, you know the drill. We've got games all day long in this 3-piece of vocal harmonies. Gonna try to catch every single step. Sit back, relax, because when we come back, we're gonna bring you another map. Ayo.
Let's go.
What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. Little bit of a blowout on map number 1 run, but we're here to see if this time Team Espada has got what it takes to unthrone Team Envy. What you think there, Run?
I know we said if they win, but they had a bye, so it was clearly a win there for Nyx's team. So in the latest iteration, and he has been through a few, Team TBD recently winning a few different leagues as well. Finally, in this incarnation, Team Espada, the one that's going to try and take down Team Envy, the Pro League. Can they pull it off? Zach, I mean, they had a good run on that last map.
They had a good run, but the thing is, Envy is coming in hot off that last one, all right? They're warmed up. I'm sure Team Espada wasn't just sitting back. I'm sure they probably had, if they got a coach sitting there watching the matches while their team was getting warmed up, getting ready to go, making sure that their guns are hot as well. But I believe Envy was able to take a step back.
That is the greatest moment in my life,
I really want to
bro.
emphasize those last couple rounds of them when they were on defense versus when they were on offense. How we saw, like we said, a bunker down strategy didn't go too well for them. They're like, okay, you know what? Let's change things up. Let's go for a little bit of an extension. Let's go and spread things out a little bit. Let's get aggressive on defense, and let's go ahead and take it to the offense. And that showed, okay, this is showing to be way, way better. We saw similar from Reno Skyline earlier on in the series. And again, same thing. They went for the bunker down, and the offense was able to just run them through. Aggressive offense needs to be met with aggressive defense. That's what I'm going to be keeping my eyes on throughout this one. See if we keep seeing that aggressive defense, those spawn peaks, those runouts, those corner rats like we were talking about over on Clubhouse. But now heading on over to, why don't you let us know where we're heading?
Well, first we got to figure out what teams we got going, right? I mean, we've got the first one. We know Team Envy. Everybody's familiar with the JJ, Mike W, Packer rival Ivan run that's got going on. But Run, on the other side of it, you said it, Nyx bringing a stack together for this one.
Yeah, that's right. The Nyx stack in play. Civi, Nyx, Yarlos, Iceball, and Kara. Can they take down Envy? Can they take down, honestly, one of the best incarnations I think we're going to see of this team? And where's it going to happen? Man, on bank. And I think we have got just a few seconds here before the game is ready. Before we get into that, though, I had to say it. The update, my friend. Moneyball pulled it off. They won versus Karn, taking down that team. So 6-5 on match point, ended in a 7-5 victory.
Ooh, man. Okay, well, Zek, he said it. The battleground has been set in this best-of-one banger we head to bank. What are you thinking here? How does that play out to the bunker strat theory you were just talking about?
This is not going to go too well for the bunker strat. I really want to emphasize these long hallways, these long angles, or quite literally the room called open area. Bank is an open area, all right? You have a lot of ground to cover. You got a lot of air, a lot of angles that can get caught at you from way far away. Those windows over in the main lobby, you got to make sure you're not poking your head out anywhere in the lobby if somebody's playing on those windows. I'm going to expect the upstairs wall on the long hallway to get covered up constantly. I'm going to expect ranged breach characters to get removed so that doesn't get opened up. As we see, look at that. Hibana gone, Ace gone. These are pivotal operators to be removing on bank because you cut off the entire upstairs rotate by popping open a single wall from a range. That is crazy to me. Over on the opposite side, it's going to be the Kaid removed once more, and the Mira. I feel like a more staple pick here on bank, especially. You go down towards that basement site, and what we saw from Envy on that last one, hey, we're not going to bunker down inside cache. No, we're going to play outside cache, have the mirror windows on the wall, and we're going to be able to watch site from there. So that's exactly what you're going to be seeing right here. As we head on down to the basement, you're going to be able to get see it live right here in front of you. So they're going to be playing that connector from walls over towards the bomb sites to, as you see, open up an entire wall. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the actual demonstration. Oh, open up the whole wall.
Oh.
Okay, that one I didn't expect too much. I'm going to be entirely honest. I expected the first one to get opened up a little bit. I expected maybe a rotate in the second wall, not the entire wall removal. And it sounds like he's doing more renovations right now. Is this guy a licensed contractor?
Potentially, we're gonna have to get somebody on the phone to come check it out. It takes away the whole wall run. They tripled up on the area denial. When we see this on Consulate, this is my favorite strat for holding that 2F. And I know I'm a D1 Tachanka hater, but when you couple it with the Goyos and you couple it with the smoke and you just open every single thing up, honestly, feels like they're running strat roulette against Team Envy right now. Will it pay dividends? That's the big question.
It feels like when you have a little bit more visibility downstairs in the basement, that certainly benefits the defense, I think, more than it does the offense. You're still forcing yourselves through one of those small doors. Because they banned out the range breach operators, you're going to have to force the hard breaches right up against that wall, which certainly makes it a little bit more difficult. And there's situations where the attacker's forced into going just through that door. If the defense got the whole wall opened up, a much easier opportunity there for the Tachanka to make sure he gets the area denial in the right place. Better opportunities for the C4s to fly through those walls. I think it gives Espada just a little bit of that added bonus. Honestly, I'm not unhappy about it. I like that setup.
I honestly do too. When you're going to play against some T1 talent, you got to do things that are a little unconventional. And, Nyx is kind of known for that sort of strat play where it's maybe not going to be the normal setup that they got going on. And that's what it's going to take to get the job done. Minute and 35 still left as they're now just starting to get that, starting to get all these hatches opened up. I like the fuse play here, getting rid of all of that denial and that gadgetry that's going to slow down that eventual hatch drop. They do get some of it removed, but we're still just over a minute, and we have got everybody still alive.
Well, I mean, for sure, I like that what Envy's been doing here. They cleared out all of the defensive utility, right? All those Goyo canisters, pops, the Aruna gates dealt with, and then Kara goes down. They've taken care of the smoke as well. This is looking very good here for this Envy attack. The problem is they got to get downstairs and start putting that pressure direct on site and have to deal with Nyx. He's got 20 of those canisters. The Sumika launcher's ready, and there it is. See the fuse starting to just cause a little bit more havoc downstairs, but the fact that they've cleared out all of this defensive utility feels very good from this perspective.
There it is, Blitz on the move now as Jarlis is able to take Rival off the board, and it's ring around the rosy. Finally, Wamai goes down, and it just puts him into a 3v2. Tachanka able to answer back. Nix not to be denied, but now he's but a bullet. Ivan to take one off the board, and now it's all going to be up to Nightmare Nix. A 2v1 as he's holding on with the triple, just holding on with the LMG, and he's going to do it. I know it's round one, but Nix gets the job done.
Not questioning Tachanka. I'm not questioning Nix. I'm just gonna let him do his thing. I'm gonna let him open up walls, and I'm gonna be honest, you guys both hit it right on the head. Maybe opening up these walls is the actual thing that we want to be doing. Open up for our area denial. Those Chamika launchers, those smoke grenades. There's Goyos being able to hit those from a range. We talked over on the last map on Clubhouse. I can reference a little bit about when the offense is able to get so close to the site, they're able to open up walls, they're able to get angles that you're not expecting. Well, let's go ahead and make the angles then. You know, I mean, hey, then we're expecting them. Then we know where we're going. We're prepared for them. That's the kind of thing that I'm looking for. And that's what I really like seeing right there. Envy just not able to get close. They got it. They got down to the wire. You get right there. You're getting the picks. But Team Espada, I mean, maybe just Tachanka was him. Maybe Nix is just him. He gets himself a quad over there in round number 1. Gonna go over here now, round number 2, up in that open area. And we see the Tachanka making his way on back. They're bringing the smoke right on back as well. So some more area denial. The pulse coming into play though. So I'm seeing a little information gathering. Hunter killer, let's go ahead and be the offensive side of things. Track down the members of Envy, maybe playing from below. Get a nitro up top. Envy on the opposite side, going to maintain with that spearhead. The Blitz. Grim for some information. Let's knock out some util with those Twitch drones. And they're ready to play some Vert as well, from what I can tell. We're gonna bring in this Ram in the gridlock. I'm assuming, gonna be a big assumption. We're gonna see Envy go upstairs right now and try to take control of this admin area.
Okay, well, banger play on round number 1 for Team Espada. They get the job done, and you got to respect the choice of going to open area next, right? Is that 2F site up top seems to be kind of in that solved site scenario, and so we're kind of starting to see that take on the terse role. We've even seen teams going to open as their first site as well, just kind of that preferred middle ground, holding both above and below. Defense a little bit spread out here, but not by much, right? There's not very much attention up top on holding this vertical, which seems to be kind of the big part of holding on to this open area. Sheesh, get deleted. Good night. Packer finds one.
Yeah, it's too bad they lose the Malusi trying to play over on the elevator side, but honestly, it felt like Icy just dodged a literal bullet there, dropping the hatch just at the last moment. Packer could have easily taken him out as well. You got to keep that DMR on defense alive. They're working all of this flank control to make sure that makes it easy to open up the upstairs, get this vertical play down on top of the team. But man, Packer holding down that the long shots from ATM, being a little bit of devastation here as the rest of the team focuses on opening up the vertical.
First kill and then not much action after that. You can hear that LMG starting to sing out again, and still fully equipped with the launcher in hand to keep slowing this down. And it's kind of an attention to that pace here, right? Banshee's on the board, giving away some of those sound cues. Now, they've taken some good space here, right? They've claimed that vertical. Everybody moved back down. We're looking at the lurk play here from Aruni to kind of maybe be that difference maker yet again for Team Espada. Find that first kill off the board, does get answered back, and then the TK is going to ring out. Ivan to take Packer off the board. JJ Blatz yet again, and then it run, that 3-2-1. You hear it talked about all the time. They just did it perfectly. They took the space, they claimed, they checked all those Yali boxes, and then 3-2-1 collapse on it.
And be pushing right on forward. You said that collapse on it, and the thing that went better for them this round than the previous, I'm probably going to say it comes down to those gunfights. Winning your ones, winning your gunfights, because you didn't allow a single player to just kind of bunker down and knock down 4 of your teammates. So really great job from Envy to close that one on out, making their way on over now for Team Espada into Teller's Archives. All right, so Gonna be maintaining this first
Attackers need
floor
to locate
presence,
and
but switching
defuse bombs.
over to the opposite side. I like this offsite play.
That is the greatest moment in my life, bro.
Take the offense somewhere that they're probably not expecting, somewhere that they're not really prepared for. Don't see a whole lot, and that's how you can catch them off guard the best. Team Envy will, I'm just going to run it back in a similar instance. You see the Blitz on board. You see the Gridlock Ram already on board. The Grim, I mean, they have the entire same lineup right now, okay? They're ready to just go and take this one top down, clear out any vert. Not too worried. The Team Espada, on the other hand, I'm seeing a lot more of just roam a little bit more. I mean, you got the Echo drones on site. Those are going to be nice, but I'm expecting Nyx to be moving around a lot more. The Pulse was coming up from the basement. I'm expecting that as well. And then you have as well the Oryx, someone who can go up and down these hatches, make rotation holes is one thing that's cool, but probably primarily going to be used to knock down this shield, that spearhead for Envy. Now it's just going to come down to execution for Team Espada here to see if they can find what it is that Envy needs to break down, because when you even look at round number 1, it was good gunfighting from Nyx, but Envy was right there. They were on top of the site, they were ripping apart your defense, and they were ready to execute.
Look at this intel coming out from Pulse, just being able to feed exact locations. You know, you're going to determine when that push starts to head up top, specifically because he's sitting there just absolutely feeding right now. Run, this is a pretty good defense as far as intel getting across the board. They've got a lot of zones covered. I'm curious to see how this is going to play out.
I mean, the fact that they're playing the quad site, the off site, Teller's Archives as the place to do this. It's definitely a more difficult site. The hold statistically worse for sure from the defense. And I think, you know what, hoping to catch Envy off guard, a new stack, new roster, new 5 players playing together for the first time. Espada hoping, hey, this is it. We're going to be able to catch this team off guard. The problem is, statistically, it is more difficult to hold. That is part of the problem, and it's going to be Mike W that finds that opening pick. Got this elevator on lockdown, but he's not in the one with the hash, so I think that's going to make it difficult for him to stay there long term. And yeah, there you go. Oh, he is in the one with the hash. Identified there, so they're going to be able to push him out of that position pretty quickly, but Espada's got to hang on. Already down a man. That final minute gameplay coming.
Yeah, and this is when those Goyle canisters are really going to start to take effect. Now, they've got some of them off the board, and you can see the Blitz has put himself right outside of sight. So, again, we're going to start that 3-2-1, waiting for the go button. He's going to push in onto the desk, and there it is. Plant starting to go down. So, all of that hold for Nadas. Now they have to rush back into sight. Rival's going to get taken off the board with a well-placed headshot, but it's Ivan to answer back. A body shot of destruction. Now, into a 3-3 scenario, and it's got still that intel on the board, is choosing to kind of just stick the echo play here. The problem is you got to get moving to take this back. You need 7 seconds on the board to start that defuse, where everything that you got going is all for naught. Mike W is able to take one off the board now into a 3-2 scenario. 10 seconds less in which to act, and they are completely still spread out. But there it is. Nyx again can get active, but it's going to be tough. Goes for the knife, but Blitz goes down. Nyx able to take it now into a 1v1.
Grenade!
A grenade that's going to send it. Hacker with the forethought to say good night, sweet tight, and he does it from above.
It's just like, you think he's going to walk through the door right about now? The answer is yes. It goes right on through. Nyx playing so clinically, so fluidly. He's like, okay, cool, I got this pick. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go and try to bait on the diffuser. Maybe he's going to walk around. Maybe he's going to, show up above me and I can go ahead and pull back and get the shot on him. No, don't even worry about that. Let me just pre-nade you, right? Well done from Team Envy over in that last round. But one thing I do want to be looking at is that Echo. You brought this on board for that information. No. Knock it off the board.
Not anymore.
Don't even talk about it.
Gone.
You have the Echo. That's going to be that on-site information. That's also going to be that that plant denial on site. We didn't see the plant denial aspects come into play. So I'm kind of looking at it as, with the Pulse getting knocked down so early in the round, was the information not able to get relayed? There was clearly a communication disconnect right there that allowed that Blitz to just push right on through and get that plant off. I need to see from Team Espada that information gathering. I need to see them be able to identify who the opponent is, well, obviously other than Envy, who the 5 members of the opponents are, who they got over there for operators, where they are, keeping track on their locations, where they're approaching from, and trying to respond from there. You find, you can't play reactive. I think that's a way that I can put that. You can't, you obviously have a little bit of reactive in you, but you allow White to make the first move in chess all the time, and you're going to end up on the back foot. You're going to lose the game over there as well.
5 seconds to go.
Interesting point. You're seeing Team Espada get more proactive instead of reactive, and I think that again touches on that aggressive playstyle that you were talking about earlier, right? Putting yourself more in their face, forcing them to make decisions, and on a split second, it's who makes that mistake first. I think it's a good win con run. What are you thinking?
I mean, what feels like the win con, you take a look at this. Nyx has put together a team, but it is the Nyx team. He's sitting at 6-2, more than the rest of the team combined, and nobody else has picked up more than 1 kill at this point. Right? If you're talking about win cons, it has got to be from the defensive side, keeping Nyx alive. Right? Unless somebody else on this team can sort of step up and match his individual heroics at this point, he is the win con here. So if Envy can manage to take him down, boom, win in their column. Now, I like what they've got downstairs. I think you touched on a great point, Zach, that, yeah, getting rid of the Echo was such an important part of the intel game that Espada had. Want to make that a little bit more difficult. And, yeah, they can play this thing certainly more aggressively, and it's going to be JJ to open up here, number 1, and the man advantage to the attackers again.
Good open early pick. That was called out in the chat earlier. Yarlos is dropping 20 or it's an L. Well, it's going to be tough to do that when you're off the board so quickly. Smokes start to ring out as they're opening up that main wall area, getting themselves in a position to start for an execute, potentially. Grim Bees to go out. It's really trying to get that intel from the Grim as he's pushing out, but he's just being fed right now. Nyx has just got so much intel that they're coming from that server area. They do find the kill onto the garage. And
oh, the smoke missed!
Starts going down.
It missed!
I don't know if he knows that he's still playing, and he's got the pulse scanner out, but not able to relay it back to his team in time. Ivan is able to take him off the board yet again, now into a post-plant scenario in this 4v2, all on the shoulders of Nyx and Aruni to try to bring this one back. Run, this feels like a tough spot.
It is an impossible spot, and the missed smoke there at the end. A legendary play by the attackers, and yeah, Team Espada taking the time out.
I think that one really shows that Team Espada has the pieces, okay? There, we had the information with the pulse. We kept him alive into the late round. We saw the 3 members, okay? When the one from Garage died, we were like, okay, cool. Here's 3 members of the offense sitting right in front of us. We know they're going for the push right here. We know the plant is going to be going off right here. And then, okay, we have the piece that is the area denial, the smoke in this instance. The Goyles were there a little bit early, got knocked on down. We have the smoke, we could throw it on over. It's just that those little things, those little mistakes that are going to allow a team like Envy to walk right through and get a plant off just like that on you. So the pieces are there for Team Espada. Now it just comes to refining them, really just chiseling them on down and perfecting them, making sure they're staying calm, cool, collected, and focused on what's going on right in front of them, and letting nerves get the best of them, because it is a part of it when you're finding yourself. I'll come into a map and I'll see, okay, here's a Team Envy, a tier 1 team, a pro level team. Maybe you're getting psyched out right off the gate, okay? Take a breath right there. Boom. All right. You go down a round, maybe a flawless round. Who knows? Okay, take a breath. You get picked off early. Just take a breath. You're 0-6. Just take a breath. Just relax. You know what you need to do. You're here for a reason, all right? So now it just comes down to doing what you do best.
Attackers need to
Timeout ended
locate
up going
and
through the
defuse as many
second
bombs as they can.
set right now as we're getting close to the end of the first half. We're seeing Team Espada continue that area denial with the Goyles, with the smokes. Going to be
Attackers
locking
have
down in
located a
front of
bomb.
the members of the offense with the Aruni gates, and then that pulse, maintaining that information. I do think it is just, you get the information, you go and do what you do best. Go for the gun skill, use your gadgets to your advantage, and that is what we need to see from Espada going forward.
So here's what I like, right? We can't pretend to know what the comms are on the side of Team Espada. We got a little bit of an idea, right? You've seen the clips of Nyx coaching his team, and probably exactly what that conversation is happening right now. But I would like to see more of that pace setting, right? more of that triple death threat where you're making sure that there's just not a place that you're going to be able to push in very fast at all, because speed, that's going to play into Envy's favor.
I think they would have won that previous round had the smoke hit. So as long as they can keep the air denial in play a little bit longer, and we said from early on, from that round one, Espada did a good job of bringing, you said, the combination of the Goyo, the Aruni. That strategy worked for them back on round one. And the only thing they're missing that's different is the Echo for a little bit of that extra intel. I'm questioning why maybe they didn't bring along the Valk if the intel was the piece of this puzzle that they were missing, because they have the Aruni, the Goyo, and the Smoke here to try and control the flow for this team Envy. But man, what a play. And I know you mentioned this, it was mentioned in the chat that JJ on fire just like he was when they made the league. We were talking about that with JJ prior to this game. Yeah, the last time we cast the NAL Challengers was Revelations v JJ & Co., where they made it to Pro League.
Man, we've seen some cool stuff, Run. I love this game. Okay, well, here we go. Minute and a half left here as they is starting to get ready on the execute. They're checking all the boxes. They've taken some of that space up top on the first floor. Still got a couple folks outside getting droned in, sussing out where those other defenders are at currently. So as it sits, Team Espada in a good position as long as they can win some of these gunfights when this execute happens. It's going to be util heavy, and they're going to just full send it.
Getting into this final minute of gameplay, it still feels like there's way too much defensive utility in play for them to be able to make this push in. But interesting, they're going to open the hatches before Fuse drops any more of his charges, because they're starting to get too many players in place. But I love the pick here from Ivan running the glass. You still have got one in server. They've got the pinch in play, but they need to clear him out before they're able to really make this execute happen. And time is ticking down, man. 40 seconds, you still don't have blue or server control.
That's right, grenade's gonna ring out, it's gonna force the movement, and there it is, completely pinched off. JJ's able to find that kill, a second goes down as the Glass is able to claim one. Now put themselves in a position to get that execute going, and it's gonna be at that 22nd level. I've been able to find a third now, or a second now, as it's into a 5v2, all hope back again as the pattern continues onto the shoulder of Nyx and the Aruni to try to bring this one back. Now this time, he's got a C4 in hand to send that one, but he's not gonna have a chance to shoot it. They get a post-plant scenario. Aruni's gonna get taken off the board as Mike W, our president, is able to find a double at the end.
You're finding yourself in this difficult spot when Envy wanted to go for the execute. The pieces started to fall apart, okay? You know, they're getting their picks, they're doing exactly what they need, and you have right there at the end with Nyx trying to go for that nitro play. That would have been a two-man nitro. Problem is, he lost his backside, he lost his six, he lost the coverage over there, okay? You are in the right spot. It's just those little things that are causing, you know, a death here, a death there. I was watching Team Envy approach this one a lot slower than we saw in the previous rounds, where it felt like they were right on side, knocking on side door very quickly, popping it open, going for plants very quickly. This one, they took their time. There was a lot of defender gadgets still available, a lot of intel still available, but it didn't matter once they drop on down and start winning their gunfights. I think that's really where Envy is just putting themselves above and beyond Team Espada. When we look back all the way to round number one, where did we see Espada stand true? It was with the gunfights when Nyx went and got that 4-piece right off the rip, okay? Over on to Jonka. I think we need to see those two-man swings. You know, you're trying to challenge this Envy roster who's practicing all the time in these gunfights. I don't think you can be taking 1v1s against them just casually. I'm sure you have some mechanical skill to be able to do so. That's the reason why you're here in the first place. But you need to be making sure you're going as two on defense. You want to find yourself at least taking this trade, taking the one up, having multiple barrels on a single target, and just playing together, playing fluidly. Now making our way into round 6. It's going to be the last round of this first half, and we are seeing a switch up in the draft coming from Team Espada.
Oh no!
Civi on the ground.
Tough. Civi goes down, and that's going to be an instrumental first pick, right? Because then it's the Kiba barriers in pocket. You can see 3 in hand that were not going to be a part of this strat if they can't get her back up. And they can't. Mike W is able to finish off that kill. It's going to be an early man advantage now run as Team Envy can sit back and kind of rest on the trade game here.
Yeah, honestly, late round setup, jaywalking across the bottom of square. That was a huge mistake, obviously, for Sivian. Sitting at 1-6, he's going to wish he had a different play day for sure here in the 6th Invitational Last Chance Qualifiers. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome in, everyone. This is it. Day number 1 for North America Last Chance Qualifiers for SI. It's not for Pro League, but it's the opportunity to play against all of the Pro League teams when we get into the closed qualifiers in January. So, huge day, single elimination bracket. Kara, man, that's what they needed. Finally picking up a second kill, but the diffuser's already going down. 4v1 scenario, my friend.
P4 rings out, but it's just not going to be enough. JJ able to push in, claim a dome piece, and that puts us at a 5-1 half Zek, and that feels like it's starting to get a little bit tough to come back from.
It's an uphill battle regardless. I mean, you're up against Team Envy, this pro level team, who is going to make sure that you work for it if you want it, okay? So it's going to be Team Espada. Do you want it? Something I want to point out is something we talked about back when we were getting into this map. What is the biggest thing Bank is known for? It's these open areas. It's these long angles. Envy is taking advantage of that. They have the long-range gun skill. They have the recoil control. I think that's going to be a really big thing, to be able to not trace their opponents or, you know, do the buck, you know, all the way up to the ceiling with my recoil on that gun that I've definitely been clipped on before. yeah, I don't play buck for a reason, you know. But Team Espada, it's going to come down to now you're on offense. How can you take advantage of these long angles? Can you catch the members of Envy off like you were looking right there? Losing your Azami right out of the rip. This is an operator who, well, now banned away. Gets better throughout the rest of the round. She sees her value the longer she stays alive, given the fact that her gadget has to recharge, but she had 3 of them in pocket right out of the start of the rip. Was it just not being set up on time? Was it just not, you know, something was missing? You went to go and cover for whatever wasn't done by a teammate or wasn't done by you. I don't know, maybe a little bit slower pacing. Pick up the pacing. You got to get moving because it's 5-1 right now. Envy is 1 round away from finding themselves on match point. It's going to be the double range breach banned away again from Envy this time. So Ace Mana off the board and not going to allow opportunity for that wall upstairs to open on up. Azami and Castle, your kind of site reshapers, you know, you have those Kiba barriers that you can put wherever you want. I think so, yeah. Let me check out the Siege dictionary in a little bit. I mean, yeah, you see rotate holes get made, and then all of a sudden the castle barricade goes on the door right next to it. I don't know why. It's just, all right, cool. I don't want the door here. I want it over there. That's what castle players do. And Azamis, they're just like, hey, there's a wall here now, there's a wall there now, and there's a wall here now, you know. Let me just go ahead and reshape whatever I want to. Yeah, I like site reshapers. I think I'm going to be sticking with that one for a little bit. Opposite side, you know, you're looking at Team Espada now on the offense. They're running their spearhead with the Blackbeard. They're going to be trying to get aggressive as well. Play some of that vert over here with
AJ, he's got it.
He's trying to get in the drone hole.
Yes.
Third time's
You
a
can
charm,
do
right?
it. Honestly, I love it, right? You're using the echo similar to how you see it used on Cafe and on Clubhouse, where you're getting it outside for a few moments, getting yourself that quick intel, and kind of honestly reaches into what Zach was talking about earlier when you're saying you've got those aggressive defense. Well, you're not just going out there willy-nilly, right? It's off the back of information. And that is going to be a great job with Envy getting their echo out there. And real quick, just while we're in it here, just want to say to Will, thank you so much for the 30 months of subscription. Been here since the absolute beginning and inception of the double shot. We appreciate the hell out of it. Bjorn at 14 months, thank you so much. And we just hit our 7,500th follower on that last one. So thank you very much, Travis 90935. You're the GOAT.
Hell yeah, Travis. Appreciate everyone being here for that one. And man, what a game, what a day it has been, and what it's going to be. I mean, we still have plenty of games left over. At this point, Envy looking like they're putting a solid beat down here on Team Espada, sitting at 5-1 and a little bit more difficult. And now a man down as JJ continues what has honestly been a fantastic day. Dominance here at 9-2, really carrying this team. And we're going to talk about site choice a little bit. We didn't get to see Team Espada play the second floor at all. They shied away from it. Envy starts off on the site number 2, and it feels like, man, we talked about it, that first floor off-site was one that Envy picked up on attack, and really feels like that could be a huge difference maker when you talk about the way that this game has gone overall. Everything just completely fell apart here at the end as Espada really struggled. Even with the run out, he would have lost his life to the Claymore, but waiting until the very end to use it, man. Like, choosing the offsite, losing that, putting yourself in a 5-1 defensive split is really going to be part of the story that gets told here. So can they come back on attack? Well, now they absolutely have to. 5 in a row to be perfect.
I feel like I want to do, okay, rewind, press play, aggressive offense, aggressive defense, need aggressive defense, and look what we just saw from Envy right there. Team Espada couldn't even get inside the building. All right, we saw 2 kills right there at the end, going down to close out that round. One of them trying to rappel on in, gets blasted just trying to go through the window, and then the next one didn't get a chance to go through the rappel on into the window. No, he's still repelled outside on the wall when Team Envy just jumps on out and just goes and kills him right there. Envy is showing that you can't allow the offense to get aggressive themselves. You got to make sure that you're holding them outside as far as you can, keep them as far away from sight. I mean, I want to see some good heavy roams. I want to see some good opportunities there, and it's going to come down to, I would say, the offense to recognize it. I want to say it was G2 maybe like a year or 2 ago when they were saying that, not last year. Yes. Oh man, I'm gonna get called off, I'm sure, on this one. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna kind of commit to the bit. It was on Clubhouse, I know for sure, and they ran on in straight through dirt 5-man because they recognized that their opponent was playing a very heavy extension on that, and they got in. You need to be able to adapt on the offense. I'm just talking about aggressive defense, and he runs out.
There it is. Well, I mean, it's JJ on the Boss G. What are you going to do? And he's floating at 11-2. When JJ gets going, you know what's going to happen. He's going to show his cam, and it's going to be the signature JJ move after that Boss G kill. Civvy goes down in a 2-8. Man advantage back to Envy on a match point scenario run. It's just looking tough.
I really wanted to see Team Espada here put up a little bit bigger of a fight, a little bit better of a fight, but man, Nix goes for the shot, and then just the runouts, the C4 is happening. We're down to the final 2. Yarlos and Icy, can they pull it off? They've got 4 attackers, or 4 defenders they've got to manage, but look at this. The long-range shot. It is down to a 1v4, my friend, to end the round of the map.
All right, well, here it is. Capitao, he's got the new gun in hand to try to get it done. It's got the Gon 6 for a little bit of speed. Outside now is Team Envy is going to be doing a bit of trolling here, right? They've got a chance to throw some bodies, and they're just not going to do it. P90's going to find the kill. It's a body shot from Ivan as the GGs ring out in the all chat. Nix doesn't quite get it done here on Qual number 1. Going to have to take another shot at it in Qual number 2.
Big GG's there to Envy, pulling off a huge win here at the end. And honestly, it doesn't feel like it's unexpected at this point. But man, they did a fantastic job. And would have loved to have seen Nix, put up a little bit bigger of a fight. We talked about that. But I mean, Envy, this is going to be a tough team to beat across the board.
I'm looking at that right now. 12-2 JJ, 11-3 Ivan. These guys are not just kill lead eaters, they're kill dominators, okay? Getting up there in the double digits and separating themselves. They're landing their shots, they're getting on out, they're getting in your face, and I can see this right now. These are 2 guys you do not want feeling themselves, and the entire roster of Team Envy right now is feeling themselves. They're feeling good. They're on a 2-win streak. They are maintaining momentum. I can't even say they're maintaining momentum. They're building momentum. They're getting more aggressive. We look over what they did on Clubhouse. It felt like there was some reserve there. They were trying to get a feel for how teams were reacting to the recent changes, I want to say. Now you look at this one and like, okay, cool. Turn it up. Turn it up, turn it up. Every single round it's going to be a turn up the dial, see what we can bring onto the table, because the challenges are going to get harder and harder and harder.
That is the greatest moment in my life, bro.
Absolutely. Okay, so it's a momentum run here. Team Venvi is starting to stack up the W's as they're on their last chance for SI, and you're going to find all of that action here. We're going to get another game set back up for you, right? We'll just keep on rolling as many as we can get in to bring to you today. If you've got recommendations, obviously throw them in the chat. Add us on Twitter. We'll try to get as many as the teams that you want to see in as we possibly can. So with that, sit back, relax, because when we come back, we're looking at another map. Ayo.
Let's go.
What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. 2 up and 2 down as Envy marches on dramatically through these first ones. Run. Envy's just kind of stomping right now here in this open qualifier.
Honestly, it's not unexpected, right? This is the pro team. We expected them to really dominate here, especially early as you start to weed out some of the teams that are just getting themselves together, haven't had time to practice. The fact that they got Nyx's stack, though, on that second round, I was thinking was going to be a little bit bigger of a battle, but now as we get into a little further into the bracket, are they going to have a little bit more difficult opportunity, or is it still going to be them clearing very quickly up against Kraken Seas here for round 3?
I think something that's been standing out to me, and I honestly want to probably say all of us, is the difference in gun skill from pro-level play, pro-level practice. You bring out pro-level gun skill, pro-level aggression, getting forward. We're seeing runouts coming in left and right. We're seeing those kind of spawn peaks come on through from Team Envy. Teams that need to be preparing for that now going up with Kraken Seas. How will they respond is going to be my big question. Will we see that similar style of assertiveness moving on forward? Will we see them approaching? You know, you got to be watching for those windows. The moment you don't is the moment you get spawn peaked. Yeah, it happens in your ranked games, casual games. It'll happen on the pro stage as well over in SI Grand Finals. If you're not careful for it, a team will bring it out. If it's something you're not looking for, they will surprise you. So just try to eliminate those surprises. Try to go through your checklist as quick as possible, cover as much ground as much as possible, drone for each other, move forward, and get on in and get the map control.
That's true. So let's take a quick look at the teams before we're getting into it. It's Envy back to business as usual with the lineup they got. And then on the other side, Run, there's a couple of guys that we've seen here before.
Yeah, Nazapeth, Rican, Evil Clown, Iron, and Kintai. I mean, this is it's a group that has been together in various forms across the board, different teams. But man, there was a lot of people putting together stacks here because the opportunity to qualify for SI, to get your ticket to Paris, take on the big teams. Honestly, if you can just make it into quals and get a chance to play against Dark Zero, play against Oxygen, play against Cloud9. But first, you have to make it through Envy. And where's that battle going to happen? Man, one of my favorite maps.
Yeah, man, this is one we don't get to see as often, Run. Chalet, which now on the international stage has taken on that attacker-sided nature, right? And NA, EU, SAL, they all have that similar feel where attacking's just going to have the advantage. So it's mid-floor plays, it's holding on to the vertical, it's looking for those lurks. Zek, tell us what you love about Chalet as we get into this one.
Chalet, I really think about information. I'm thinking operators like Valkyrie, making sure that they know where the offense is pushing from, how we can approach this. Maybe get a nice cheeky nitro from below. You know, those are always my favorite. You know, have somebody on your camera and get you set up, or do it yourself, whatever it may be. Then I'm thinking Mira as well. Just a pivotal operator, like we've been talking about time and time again, throughout multiple maps, throughout multiple sites on multiple maps. She's just absolutely critical. I'm going to find her anywhere, honestly, on this one. I wouldn't be surprised to see that one banned away. It is going to be the castle and Zami banned away for the defense, and on the opposite side is going to be Blitz and Grim. So some information right there. Those, I'm going to double down on it. Site reshapers on the opposite side banned away for the defense. I'm not going to have that available to them. You won't be able to funnel the offense in the way that you want to, with the castle walls being the fact that we see teams play on the vertical, play these first floor sites, and then watch from upstairs,
Defenders,
watch from
protect your
below.
bombs.
As we now head on
By
over to the
attackers.
first floor site right off the rip. We're going over to kitchen and
Bomb
dining.
located
I'm still
by
expecting
attackers.
Emmy to be playing on the vert, playing upstairs in that second floor master bedroom, have somebody over on the opposite side in library holding that as long as they can. As much as I want to see Kraken Seas sit there and just push on in and get as much map control as they can in order to try to create some line of sights on the Envy, it's really going to be a team that you gotta find a way to crack on through. Do you want a more direct approach coming in from the outside? You want a more clear style going. We're going to clear library. We're going to clear from bar game. We're going to make our way across and just make sure that we get everybody as quick as possible. I'm wondering how they're approaching Kraken Seas as we see them coming in with the Ash. So there's going to be a running gun. The Lion, there's spawn peaks left and right already. They're setting up right now for a little bit of a trap, and he's just showing what they want to be doing right off the rip.
Yeah, well, I think the big phrase that you touched on is they're going to have to crack on through, right? And Kraken's going to need to get a Kraken. And showing some of that early stuff. They know that some of those spawn peaks are coming. You can see that they've already got Mozzie droned out, so they know that there is that lurk roll in play. Run. So we're seeing Chalet. We're seeing it being attacker sided. Do you think Kraken has got what it takes here to start this out?
Well, right before we got that first pick and Rival takes down Nazapath, I mean, it's a bit of a question mark. This is certainly a difficult map, a difficult play style here, I think, for Kraken Seas. Envy has got this thing on lockdown. Again, you're up against a team that is full of pros, full of future pros, and some of these players' opportunity here, but certainly I'm thinking that they have played and have very similar play styles together. Gonna go for a little bit of the run. Ivan takes the chance. Evil Clown punishes him for it. So that's pros can still make mistakes. And as long as you on the attack, Kraken Seas is ready to make up for those and catch those mistakes, it's gonna happen. But man, what a play there.
Yeah, Mike W gets taken off the board, and that's going to be a man advantage over to Kraken as they find themselves up by 1. A minute and a half in which to reset and kind of get their secondary plan into action. You did lose the entry, but hasn't been a detriment just yet. Defense is kind of holed up, locked, still a C4 in hand. The line ping's going to go out, freezing these attack or defenders in place. C4 is primed, prepped, and ready. They're going to try to get this second wall opened up.
And they need that second wall open. They need that to be able to put some pressure direct on the site. The upstairs one, clear to make sure that no one is playing up close to that wall, give you the opportunity to open it. But look at this Packer again, just being super aggressive, running out that door, but he doesn't need to. Rival is going to take down the shield as they push in close. They're still in a 2v3, so Kraken Seas has got an opportunity here. Problem is, look at JJ holding close against the wall, but man, Evil Clown was ready for it and punishes him.
So now, up alone on an island, the vertical in hand. Rival going to try to bring this one back into contention, but it's not going to be the case. Iron's able to take him off the board and run. Look at that. Kraken's going to find their first.
Just a 180. He hears him right there, right at the end. I honestly, Emmy came out. They got that opening pick. That was really nice. Gives you some man advantage on the defense when we were talking about how the offense needs to push on in and show us that this is an offensive-sided map. Sure enough, Kraken able to dismantle one at a time, an immediate 1-2 man swing right back into Kraken's favor. They get the man advantage. They start pushing on forward. They start taking advantage of Envy, and then everything kind of just fell apart from there. You went for the surprise factor.
Protect your bombs
With those
defused
peaks.
by
You
attackers.
did get an early peak off of that. A
Bomb
little bit
located
later
by
on
attackers.
in, not quite early, but still relatively early. I mean, first, 30, 45 seconds, so that's great from Envy. Then what is the plan after that? You know, as you start to move into these higher teams, into the later parts of this bracket, you're going to find teams that are like, okay, you know what, we're going to be expecting the initial. Okay, we're going to be expecting a little bit later. We're going to be making sure we're checking off those back boxes like I was talking about, and the better teams are going to be checking them off a lot faster and moving on through as a team. They're droning for each other as they're moving on forward. It's not, okay, I'm going to sit outside this door. I'm going to send my drone through. I'm going to go and collect my information, and then I'm going to, okay, nobody's here. Get off my drone, run on in, then after that. No, they're moving forward with their teammates' drones. It's a collective effort. It's a team effort, and it's showing that team play is what's going to be coming out on top. Round number 2, though, it's going to be up to Envy to make a stand here and show that, yes, it's still offensive favored. We're shifting offensive favored quite heavily, but how can we dismantle? That is going to be the question. I'm seeing some traps coming on through with the Legion, with the Ella. Third time's a charm.
Finally going to get that thing. Bravo going to get active. They're going to finally claim themselves a BP cam and not going to get the clutch in time, so still going to be an active factor later on in the round. A big focus here by the attacking side run. They're getting drones in place. They're really going to try to lean into that intel-heavy skill play.
Well, I mean, if they were watching the match before this, and we don't know how much they were able to catch from that previous match, but one of the things it seemed like Envy was vulnerable for on the defensive side was, just the intel piece, right? If they can capture some of these cams, use it against this defense, that's the place where it felt like they could gain a bit of an advantage. So I love the Bravo play on Chalet in general. Up against Envy, I think is an even better pick. They lost that BP almost instantly as the player on Mez was able to clear it. But sitting down again, another opening pick. It wasn't the win con because they managed to work themselves around it, but it certainly puts them in a more difficult position as we get through the first half of round 2.
Right, so first down, dusted, second's gonna ring out. Mike W is not gonna be forced from the corner. In fact, he's just gonna run right back into it. Fire be damned, he's gonna hold the line. And with that, another member falls, which means we do find ourselves in that 5v2 scenario. A little pistol pop, but it's not going to be enough to get the job done. Rival's able to find one, and it's going to be all up to Naz now to try to bring this one back into contention. He's going to find the first one to run out as MV starts to get a little egregious with the runouts. They've got a few bodies they can throw here, Run.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I mean, they certainly can, and they should. You're sitting in a 4v1. You can hold back, but you know what? Put a little bit of a crushing blow onto this team. We saw it on the previous map that Team Espada was able to pick up round 1 versus Envy, but then lost all of the rest of the round. So, yeah, Envy, give them a little bit of time to figure out the play style. How does this team want to play? And then put the crushing blows down. That's what it felt like here as we're on round 2. Naz is going to sit back, take a couple shots. But Envy, honestly, I thought we might see them go a little bit more aggressive running out, but they can just sit back, give them the opportunity, talk about it. There's Packer going to take that battle and win it, though.
Nice and clean, walking it on down. Envy turning things around from that first round. I mean, I see it throughout multiple games, throughout multiple titles even of games. These first rounds, these early rounds are going to be the feeler rounds. Envy trying to get a good read on what their opponent's trying to do. Kraken is trying to do the same thing on the opposite end. How does each team adapt? Well, Envy, it says, we're going to go back to that style of get in your face, pop open some of these windows, and see if we can get you before you can even get inside the building.
Now, Zach, that first round, that didn't seem to work out for Envy as much, but on the second one, it seems like all the shots hit. What was the difference there, right? Mike W holding the line on that aggression up top on the second floor, or was it just because they did it more often?
You can definitely see the consistency from Envy. Like, this is something that is built into their team that they want to really emphasize here today to make sure that they find themselves in SI qualify nice and smoothly. They're going and they're opening up these line of sight. That first round, I want to say Kraken were able to get a good prediction, get a good idea, or, maybe even just get lucky at the end of the day. That's also, luck is a factor of skill. I'm going to add that in there. But we did see still that there was an early pick in that first round, so maybe it's still a factor in their minds. Envy looked at that and they were like, hey, we can make it happen. Let's just look for some of the less obvious angles. Let's get a little bit more obscure.
Do you think the Deimos is the play then? I mean, that's one of the big changes here, right? Now can suss out some of those lurk rolls, maybe try to find them before they go out. Do you like the Deimos play?
I feel like you gotta look for an operator like the Deimos. I mean, even bring out the Jackal too. Bring out something to be able to track down where these players are moving around to, because the roam game is so strong on the defense. We talk about how you need to bring aggressive defense to meet aggressive offense, and the way that the aggressive offense meta is happening on a map that favors offense on top of it too. This is just screaming that Kraken sees want to run away, or should be running away with this first half. How does Envy respond? Cool, we're gonna go for this style of play that we are currently reacting to and responding to. Then you got to think, how can we adapt to the adaption? The Deimos being a good option, the Jackal, as mentioned, Dokebi, how can we track down and find where these people are roaming from, where we can get them so we can get those picks ourselves is going to be the big question.
Ooh, there's going to be that first one run. Mike W goes down, moving advantage back into the hands of Kraken here, and that's not a bad start here on round number 3.
Yeah, definitely not bad at all. I mean, we talked about this, that opening pick not being the win con, but here it is. I mean, a great opportunity for the attackers to take down Mike W. So all that passive utility still in play, but it's taken a little bit of a nerf with the changes to mute. But look at this, the Thatcher getting to see one of the first opportunities there, clear out that cage charge. No need to ban him because Thermite is Thatcher very effective now with that change in playstyle. So we'll see how this overall plays out. This trying to block all those incoming nades. So it feels like the attackers maybe not moving quite fast enough. They have really slowed down this. They've opened up some of these sight lines. I mean, the Demo's taking a couple shots, but this downstairs kitchen dining area is still fully locked down.
C4 is going to ring out. It's going to do some damage, but not enough to take Clown off the board, which means he's going to be able to get that wall opened up. Ken finds another one as JJ's life is forfeit. Now gives that man advantage to the attacking team by 2. But here's the thing. We haven't displaced that vertical hold just yet. So still going to be dug in. The default plant areas in which you're going to try to get to as an attacker are still going to be denied to you. So the cross set up onto the door, flashes start to ring out, and that's the smokes. Execute starts to get towards the process, looking towards the half wall. It is going to be Nas to find one, but answered back yet again. Now find themselves into a into a glitched situation, which I'm sure if we were able to call it, looked like Kraken was pushing in. They were finding that, and with no official ruling, I think Kraken finds round number the 4th.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an observer crash there. The game is still playing out. The observer PC crash, so we're going to have to hop back in just a second. So we'll take a quick pause, but I think you said it. That one looked like that was going to be another Envy win.
Yeah. Potential. Well, another Envy win. No, that's not what I was saying. I think Kraken is probably taking that one.
Oh, all right. Good call.
Yeah, Kraken was going.
Okay, folks.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. Go ahead. Go ahead, Zach.
We're watching Kraken just being able to dismantle the members of Envy. They were getting that man advantage, that 1-man, 2-man, finding those picks. I do think, like we were talking about at the start of that round, having an operator like the Deimos is going to be benefiting that. If you have the gun skill, use those information operators to track down, use those roam clear operators, and we saw that from Kraken.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so now it's going to start to put the pressure on Team Envy here as they potentially are going to be down 2 rounds. And honestly, the most the team has taken off them in the LCQ as of yet, if they did find that round. That's the big if here, chat. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to sit back, relax. We're going to fill our drinks up to the very tippy top because when we come back, we're going to bring you the stunning conclusion of this 3rd match. Ayo.
Let's go.
What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. Rehost is done data, and when the dust settled, what we didn't get to see on the screen was that Kraken has taken a 2nd round off Envy on the attack side of Chalet, now tying the best maps taken off Envy in LCQ thus far.
When we were looking at the end of that round, we were watching Kraken. They were dismantling the defense. They were gathering the information. They were getting those picks, and look what got banned. The Deimos. We were like, hey, is this the piece that Kraken needed? Yes. Did Envy look at that and say this was the piece? Yes. Okay, we'll take that piece. We're going to get rid of that. How do we fill that gap now? We did mention a couple other operators that could take that place. Not on the same level that the Deimos is, but still have good potential to be able to gather the information, track down those roams, lock them on down. Look who just came into play right now. First time today, we're seeing a Dokebi come on in. It's going to be on Iron Smithers.
Dokebi is a fun one too because it used to be that operator that was banned out exclusively when we were just getting the 2-ban system, and when we got that target banning 3rd, the micro games started to play out during the round, and Dokebi just didn't seem like it was the necessary call. But when you're playing off that intel, I think, Zek, that this is probably a good one. Couple that up with a little bit of that over-the-top play as Ram is on the board. Honestly, this feels like a pretty good attack to get it done again.
I look at it too when I see the Dokebi. It's like, all right, you were gathering information on players. You were trying to take away cameras earlier, if we remember the Bravo play earlier. Guess what Dokebi does? She does both of that in one. Cool. All right, well, we don't need to take cameras. We don't need to... Let's just go ahead and get the picks on these roamers, and then we'll just take the cameras just like that. She can do a play right here.
I love this play from Packer.
Oh!
Man, if he had hit that, would have been legendary, but certainly puts that pressure on the attackers. I mean, yeah, now you know that Solar is being watched. They need to be careful to manage it. Plus, it puts a little bit of pressure on Big Window. Now this is just going to kill time upstairs. Big roam game, and I think a good amount of pressure here from Envy playing upstairs just to slow this attack down. And Kraken Seas is definitely going to struggle with that. They have... Okay, never mind. Just Iron Smither gets one, but then refragged quickly by Rival.
Packer taken off the board, man advantage equalized on both sides, 2 minutes to count it down, and now a little bit of a reassessment here out of both teams as they got to go, okay, well, now we don't have that necessary piece of util that we were kind of hoping for, that we've been playing off for this entire round, or for this entire match so far, so now it needs to be not just a redirect run, but a big redirection.
Well, and that was a huge pick. You guys spent a lot of time talking about Doki early on in this round, what an important part of the roam clear, the intel game she was going to be, taking away the defender's cams when it got a little bit late into the game, and diffuser down as the observer is showing us. I think, yeah, that was definitely went in Envy's favor to take away Dokkaebi. So now sitting at a 4v4 as we get close to that final minute of gameplay. The intel being identified here, good pings coming out, and we talked about Ella a little bit during that bank game previously, and the fact that, you know, in a shield meta type of game, I think that raises Ella's utility, but Kraken C's not leaning into that at all. No Ella on, or no shields on their side. They're focused very much on the utility execute side, and they're gonna have to get on with it, my friend. We're getting to 45 seconds left.
You called it. Still 2 members upstairs holding on to the vertical, which could see Naz seeing a bit of an engagement here, maybe a little earlier than expecting as well. So a grenade towards that back, double rings out trying to force some movement, but it's just not going to be enough to push him back far enough to not be a factor, though. Clown is able to take Envy off the board.
Oh,
now it's a second
W drop!
W goes down, and that's going to be the plant starting to ring out, but a quick answer back is going to be 3 ringing out. Ivan good for 2. Rival on the 3rd does put us now into a Naz-only scenario. He's got to be perfect for 2, and they are split. It is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with Naz in the middle, and he is going to get absolutely ate up.
Just collapsed on, and exactly that's the kind of patience you were looking for. You saw the members of the defense right there. They looked at it and like, okay, you go this way, I'll go that way. We don't just need to funnel into this guy one at a time. Let's swing at the same time, knock him on down. That's the calm, cool collectiveness that you get from the higher levels. You don't get this and say, oh, I gotta go. He's right here. He's reloading. We go for it. No, just play this together. Use your numbers advantage. That's what it's there for. I did think that losing that Dokkaebi was a massive point. We were talking about how important it is, how much the information is critical for Kraken, not to mention just having an operator who sees more and more value the longer the round goes. She wasn't able to get cameras, so that was one part of her entire kit that wasn't able to see. She didn't get any calls off, so I mean, that's the other part, and she's got to get those calls refreshed too as time goes on.
Discovered the location of a bomb.
I would look at it as you have this pivotal operator, she can't be on the front line.
That's a tough one when it does go down so early like that. And we're going to see a similar lineup out of Envy. You saw him JJ asking the chat earlier, are you going to stream this game? You know, and probably asking because, you know, we put all of their strats on display. So they just keep running the same operator that's working. That way they don't have to give up too much of that info because as they get later and later into the bracket here, if Kraken, of course, allows that to happen, you start seeing some similarities, some of those patterns creeping up. And as of this moment, it's just business as usual for him.
Not only that, but you're sitting there as Envy, you're like, there's something. And when a team comes to you and says, hey, are you streaming this one? You know, it was a, you know, nervous, like, ooh, would you maybe, you know, miss a couple things here or there, you know, a couple ways that we're walking, don't pay attention to some of the operators we're picking up. They have something in mind that they want to pull out, but they can't because they're worried about other people watching. I would be worried too. You have a pro level roster who is cited to go. They can make it all the way through. You know, I'm sure that's the anticipation of a lot of the viewers at home. So it is for the pro teams though.
Nah, they've got exactly one game where that makes a difference, and the pro teams adapt really quickly. It's one of the reasons that they're the pros. We say that all the time. I think that even, you know, when teams talk about saving strats, that's almost more of a bit of a joke. And really, I think that that this is a team that can adapt quickly, easily. and work around whatever the other teams are throwing at them. So even if you save it for a second, you know, Cloud9, Dark Zero, Shopify Rebellion, they're going to come back swinging within one round of figuring out the way they want to play that style.
Starting to open up. The two-barrel gadget going to slow things down just a bit here at the top mez. Allow him to sit in this position just a little bit longer, holding on to that main wall there. And really kind of just defense dug in here, and they're doing a better job this time at maintaining the time advantage into their favor. Oh, shot off, gone. Two-barrel, still that factor up north. Regan is able to take Mike W off the board. That's a man advantage now over to Kraken as they can take one last run at getting that wall open.
They're going to get it open this time. Again, we saw this NV defense ban out the Grim, the Blitz, the Deimos, leaving all the hard breach operators on, right? Forcing this team into playing strategic fundamental siege. And they're struggling to get that wall open until the final minute of gameplay. Feels like a good choice here from this defense because Kraken C is just struggling a little bit to get those default sight lines open, forcing him into a quick play at the end of this round with that final 35, my friend.
That's right, you called it. 30-second meta back into play here. Haven't quite dislodged that 2F presence, and you still got Packer playing lurk roll down below on the fireplace. Could come up huge. The smokes start to go out. Rival's able to take one. Ivan goes off the board, and that's going to leave it all up to Packer now, as he is going to find that first down up top and a second to answer.
No way.
Goes down as well. Now into a 1v2 scenario, but it's a post-plant run. You still got to take both of those angles at the same time, and Clown, he's just not clowning around. He's gonna find it, my friend.
Good patience coming in from Kraken. They were able to take their time, get in towards sight, like you mentioned. Still semblances of that 30-second meta. Flicker in from here to there. I did like what we saw from Envy to really slow down that pressure, to keep those walls hold up until the final 60 seconds. They actually held it down very nicely. It was just a little bit too a little bit too many picks going in the favor. I mean, you lost two people. You were in a two-man down scenario going into that final push.
Okay, so the Envy now has been caught on the back foot a couple of times. Now, this is, of course, an attacker-sided map, right? Is that playing into
Attackers
that?
need
Is
to
this just
locate
not
and
a
defuse
map
bombs.
that Envy is like necessarily completely worried about, Zek? Or do you think that, it's just the nature of the map that sees Kraken up right now? It's the last round of the half.
They are definitely utilizing that aggressive offense to their benefit and being able to just get on in and try to dismantle as much of the defense as possible. I see that as being a factor
10
of the
seconds to
map,
go.
being a factor of the meta, being a factor of the operators that they're picking.
5
They are
seconds
going to
to
be
insertion.
getting away from the roam identifying operators. As we
Attackers'
can see,
objective is to
they are
locate
going to
a
be
bomb
going
and
for the
defuse it.
information in the face of the IQ. Maybe it's just the util now that is coming into the factor for Kraken. Maybe if we knock down some util, knock down the gadgets, the mute jammers, if we're looking for, you know, the goo mines, the cameras, you know, anything that's just sitting out of the ordinary. And I mean, especially with this Denari coming on in from Rival as well to lock down where exactly those laser lines are going to, those could really benefit Kraken to be pushing in a lot swifter.
All right, starting to get active here. Kind of a standard lineup run. They do bring out, hard breach and hard breach support. I think one of the big factors, Flores now, those Roteros, going to be out to help kind of get rid of and dislodge some of that extension util. But feels like a pretty stock standard lineup here for Kraken as they're going to try to take some space up onto the 2F.
Now, a little bit of an update that was happening across the league, across the series. Over on Asino's stream, we got a chance to see Moneyball. They pick up a win and set up a rematch from Element 6. Your versus Moneyball there is just started. I think that's going to be over on his side of the stream, but it's interesting. That's a little bit of a rematch. It was a best of 3 that Your won. Skite and his team sent the Moneyball team packing, so they are looking for a rematch and some payback here in the
Attackers have
6
dropped the bomb
Invitational
diffuser.
Last Chance qualifiers. And if you're just joining us again, welcome in, everyone. Wanted to see which of the teams are going to make it into the 6 Invitational closed qualifiers that happen in January. So 2 open spots this weekend, 1 open spot December 20th. So 3 spots available to anybody. And it's honestly a little bit unfortunate that the Pro League teams have to fight out here. But you know what? Bring your 5 stack. Show up. Let's see who wins this one.
All right, so some smokes early on here are going to try to slow down this attacking team, and they're going to start it out with a bang as they take Flores off the board. So any of those Roteros that they were going to use to try to dislodge some of these players, not going to be a factor anymore, my friend. They take that man advantage, and with just 40 seconds left, feels like that is a huge detriment to this attacking team. We've got people inside, of course, the building, but not really in a position to get an execute going.
What a...
He did, though. Absolutely slammed. Packer gets control, alt deleted. A second to ring out as JJ goes down. Ivan off the board, and C4 does ring out from Mike W, but man, that was a tough one. Now they're going to get that plant starting to go down, and no way to really stop that potential.
Crazy. Man, another post-plant scenario here. Kraken is doing a fantastic job on the attack. Evil Clown having a crazy good game, hitting the shots when it mattered. And Nas picks up another one here, putting Rival in the 1v scenario, and he is unable to clutch this thing up. And man, Kraken Seas has just shown up in a big way. Envy is not invincible, as the pro team certainly. Anybody can win. The danger for this open qualifier is it's a single elimination best of 1 bracket until we get to the semifinals, right? That's crazy that they're going to have to fight through all the way to the end, and 1 bad game on Chalet could make the difference. But Envy is a very good team, and we're looking for them to make a comeback here. Our Kraken Seas is going to see their hopes, I mean, just soaring right now, sitting 2 rounds ahead of Envy.
I'm looking at that last round too, specifically man advantage for the defense. You're like, okay, we can control the pace like this. We're good. But it's showing me, and you mentioned Envy, yes, they're a very good team. So is Kraken. I'm watching this right now. That bait on the master bedroom window, that says enough to me that Kraken's players understand that, hey, yeah, if I'm going to go in, I'm going to try to make something happen here. Someone might swing for me. Someone might come out from that downstairs door, push their way on out and try to pick me off while I'm focused on what's going on in front of me. Beautiful bait, beautifully done. Good recognition of what players do at different levels and able to collapse on that and able to capitalize on that as well. We're switching sides, though. Kraken over there on the defense. We're going to see the Azami Mira band away for the defense. Opposite side, it's going to be the Thatcher and the Cappy Tau gone. So not going to be able to deny the breach denial as well. Deny the denial. There we go. Deny the denial as well.
Deny the denial. I love it. Okay, so the splits is standard. It goes to that attacker side. Now, here's the big question mark. Is it the map? And this is going to be the round that kind of solidifies that. If Kraken is able to continue with that aggression, and by aggression, I mean continue with making sure that Envy cannot get inside of the building, claiming that man advantage early, playing those heavily lurk roles, if they can maintain that on the defense, yeah, we could see a bit of an upset here. The thing is you got on the other side of it, it's still Team Envy, and now they're going to get on the attacker side, which of course has that map favor.
The map favor, the meta favor. I'm excited to see Envy and how they pull it out and see if they can do the anything you could do, I can do better scenario. Kraken's though, I mean, you got a lot of delay, a lot of denial in here with the smoke. Being able to have that area denial with the Denari, I'm talking about denial. Denari coming on through as well with those laser lines as well. To be able to just kind of slow down the offense, something you got to fight through, just 1 extra layer to worry about. And then once you do push into sight at those last moments, if it gets down to those last moments, you're running into those Fenrir gadgets, those FNAP mines. They're going to block your vision. They're going to announce your presence.
All right, my friend, I'm sitting at 2 minutes, just close to a third of the way through the round, and I haven't seen Clash played very often, but honestly, I like the Clash, right? Somebody said it, I forget who it was, Mobile Mira, right? She does basically what Mira does, but sometimes just a little bit better. You can move that around, plus shooting back. So I think honestly, sometimes it's good to see teams make that change up. A little bit more fragile, certainly, versus the explosive utility, but honestly, I think it's a good trade-off overall. Now, look at this, taking a look through the window and punished for it. Nas, unfortunately, they lose the Denari. Hopefully, had all of that intel out, all those trip connectors in play. But this looks like a good one, at least a good start here for Envy, as they managed to take the solar and the trophy side completely, and they're really moving around on the fireplace side without. Okay, I was gonna say without real impunity.
Well, they're going to make a little bit of a run out. Mike W is going to deal with that. And when you were kind of watching that last exchange, Mike W now good on the double as a grenade does ring out, but it's not going to force any of that movement. Ivan again. Ivan for 2 as he claims it. And Envy just looked real good on that run. What I'd like to highlight, though, is kind of some of that positioning as they're taking some of that space, right? The cuts that are held. He's not right up against the window waiting for that cut. He's held very far back, negating some of that peeker's advantage that he knew was sitting at the bottom of Solarium. So not just got the kill, not just a heads up play on where the people were positioned at, but also just understanding the fundamentals of an FPS game and winning that battle. And now we're one closer to tying it up.
You know, I don't want to be close to Windows 2 when I'm looking over at Kraken C's defense and I'm like, oh, they have mute. Oh, they have smoke. Oh, they're running double shotgun. Yeah, let me just turn the corner very close to that. Turn the window very close to that. I'll be eating a slug to the face and calling it a day. Good night. See you in the next round.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by
Absolutely.
attackers.
So they find themselves with the victory there, Zek. It looked completely different than their defensive-sided run. And honestly, you know, you don't need as much, maybe, I don't want to say strat, right? Because there's definitely strats being brought along to the attacker side. You definitely have a plan with how you're going to be taking that map, but it's more fluid on the attacker side of it. So allowed to kind of move around without that possibility of that being, oh, well, he likes to sit here like it would on the defense.
Yeah, you definitely have a lot more opportunity to play, to change the play style up in the way that you know, you said it, fluidity that they're going to be able to change. And yeah, I mean, when you look at the way that Kraken C's have been playing the defensive side, you said brought along a lot of the shotguns, wanting to play very close, wanting to take those engagements 1v1. And I think that sort of plays into Envy's hands, right? Great set of gunners on this team. If they can take some of those long angles, hold those long shots, and negate some of the effectiveness of the shotguns, this could definitely go in their favor.
One away from tying us up now. Defense definitely playing into the pace game as both Castle is on the board and, of course, Mute trying to deny some of that intel as well. And then on the other side of it, bringing out the Solus as well. Been one of my favorite operators lately. Oh, okay. Ivan is a good night's sleep tight as the body shots ring out. Now the pressure onto Solarium as they throw some flashes in. A little bit of disorientation and disruption, but still none the worse as he just has continued to be allowed to hold on to this back stair area.
Kenny brought up a great point, right? Running the Mute, with all of the debuffs, the nerfs that had happened to Mute, I wondered whether or not we were going to see a change in that playstyle, but I guess just denying the intel. We said that was one of the pieces that worked very successfully against Envy, was having a little bit of that extra intel. And, right, they're going to work to deny that, even though he's not nearly as effective as he used to be. So, again, maybe a little bit of a favorite as teams trying to figure out how do they work the new op changes into the lineup. This is the first opportunity, the first big tournament that we've had that's using the new build actively, and we know the DMR problems, we know the Thatcher problems are still in play, but for the most part, the rest of it, all right, working it out.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you still got a shotgun in hand. You still got an SMG-11, still got a C4 for that disruption gameplay that we love so much. I'm here. I'm a Mute fan. Let's continue to send it, and let's run the Jinxie skin when we do. They claim that man advantage as Ivan was that first casualty run, and that feels a little bit better for this defense, although Mike W's got something to say about it. He's going to find Nas off the board, but answered quickly back as JJ gets some body shots that are going to take him down. Mike W now good on the double as they start taking up some of that critical space here. A couple of shots through the wall, but not anything found just yet. The Deimos ping on to Jaeger is going to reveal his location, where he's sitting at, and start to potentially put the pressure on, but it does for Rival as well. 9 seconds now, starting to count down. They do have the diffuser in hand, and he's going to put it right onto that main breach. They've got the intel. He's going to be shooting up. It's going to be the shotgun, and that's going to claim it. Right, take one back, but it's not going to be enough. Defenders are going to find it, but just by the hair on their chin.
It's that information, understanding, yeah, he's over here. I mean, obviously a default location for the plant as well, but what was looking about to be an Envy gets in there, they get the plant off, turns into a, someone just coming up from below with a shotgun and just doing what he does best, play the vertical and popping on down. Kraken Z's are able to lock that one on down. They're one round away from locking themselves in and moving on to the next round and knocking out Team Envy.
Man, when you put it like that, Zach, does feel like it's all on the line here for this T1 team, and they've been doing all of the right things. They're checking the boxes. They're taking that space. They're finding their gunfights. But at this point, Kraken, it would just has more to lose and a little bit of that momentum in their favor, right? They've made the God Kings bleed. They've shown it's possible, and now they're on the precipice of a match point scenario.
They can bleed, they can fall. It's going to come down to Envy to step up to the plate right now, step up to the challenge. Here in North America, or at least here in America in general, we have a term, any given Sunday for football. Remaining. Well, I guess in this case, it's going to be a given Saturday for Siege, at least today anyway.
5 seconds left.
And whoever shows up to play, though, is going to be the team who comes out on top. What kind of strats are you willing to pull out? What kind of, how's your gun feeling today? How warm are you feeling? We were talking about Envy throughout the first series today, throughout the second series today. A long time ago, if you really think about it, over on Clubhouse, over on Bank, they were feeling hot. They were looking at their guns. I was talking about JJ over there coming off. What was it? 13-2? Look at him right now. Oh my! Just it is a little bit ice, a little bit cold right now. Not needing to find their stride, needing to find something right now. Rivals picking up some of that too. Mike W's been picking up some of that as well. When we're finding Envy down a man, down 2 man, these guys are coming out on top. They're helping pick this up, get this back to neutral. And right now, Envy, they need to get back to neutral. They need to get to that 5-5 to carry on.
Man, sitting at 2 minutes into this round. That first, again, 30 seconds gone now. JJ, I think, is the one. It feels like we got a reverse caster curse here, because what a game, what a change that has been for him. After hitting, was the absolute leader in some of these early games, just hitting everything. Right now, struggling to get anything going. Sitting at 0-5, very uncharacteristic of one of the more charismatic Rainbow Six Siege players out there. So looking for him to step up in a big way here as we get close, because you said it, 1 round away from match point. A little bit of an unfamiliar situation here for Envy, but Kraken sees. I mean, they have come up with a. Oh, look at that. Ping's coming out, trying to shoot through the hard wall. Not going to happen, though. Packer, though, does he know how close the defender are holding onto that angle? Yeah, going to back off that engagement.
Grim Bees start to go out. So they're trying to put some pressure here towards that Mez area. They've got some cams taking a look, and just honestly, bold as brass sitting behind that shield. Feels like just unconcerned with MV really taking any of that space just yet, and here's why. Nas is going to take Ivan off the board. That's going to be a man advantage over to nobody as it gets equalized. Mike W yet again to find another kill, but he gets traded out again. Iron is going to find the kill onto Rival, and now they've claimed that man advantage by 1 and are in a great spot to hold out for this last 45.
Yeah, huge pick there. Mike W, though, still left alive, running a couple of DMRs between him and Packer. He's got to stay alive and takes down Rican, and that exactly what they needed to do. A double coming out from Packer, so he was also struggling to get anything going, seen at 2-4-1. Mike W right now, I mean, we'll call him the win con at this point, and they've used up most of their utility. No more Twitch drones, no more of the Grim Bees. Packer still has got a pair of those smokes in pocket. One more of the Roars to try and block some of these sight lines off, but they are in a tough position, and Iron with a big pick on Mike W.
Yeah, and that's going to be huge. 6 seconds left for them to get in, and it's a Deagle to try to finish it out, but Packer's got something to say about it. It's a DMR to close that one down.
That is what you're looking for from Envy. Get on in here, move forward as a unit. It was a great pick on the Mike W, but all of a sudden Envy started swinging the man advantage right back in their favor. They were closing in on site. They were getting right in your face. And now we're finding ourselves one round away from a tie and moving on into this second set of bans, so trying to figure out what is the pivotal thing for these two teams that is the difference maker. Now coming on through, it's going to be the Valkyrie and Grim. Some information from both of these teams.
I like that, right? And they're kind of both heavily relying on that info. You could see when they were taking that space, they're pinging out the Valk cams in kind of those off spots. They're using those Grim Bees to try to suss out the defenders sitting on that Mez area. So now, with the adjustment here, right, we can obviously bring out a Solus, we can bring out a Mozzie on the defense, but what is Attackers going to do for this intel side of it now?
I think what really stands out to me is a month ago, everybody's going, shields, 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 you know, shields are everything right now.
Attackers
and then we're
located
like,
a
okay,
bomb.
well, we can't ban all the shields. So what we were starting at today, or at the start of the day, we're like, hey, hard breaches, you know, breach denial, hard breaches, these are kind of big things. Maybe we look towards that. We're starting to see a little bit of a shift just through today alone in the focus of information operators. The Deimos, the Dokkaebi, the Valkyrie, the Grim. Let's get information, let's lock down, let's figure out where people are. We can see Impulsion coming on through, the Solus coming on through in the past couple rounds as well, gaining information. IQ's going up as well. We want to track down, we want to know what's going on, where people are, where it's going on, and act on that. Information wins championships.
Well, they definitely leaned into that. Solus is on the board. On the other side of it, we did bring the Lion and the Deimos, so it's still going to lean into that similar strat run. I like the castle on the board. We're going for some pace stuff here, and one away from that match point scenario, slowing Envy down. Feels like part of that win con.
Yeah, honestly, and it's interesting that we're seeing Envy really change up the lineup too, right? Packer running the DMRs, playing the Twitch this time, back on the Ace, trying to open up some of these sight lines, picking different operators, picking different roles, and still finding ways to win. So Kraken has got their work cut out for them. As you're sitting into that first minute goes down, yeah, try and identify where some of these defenders are, and they don't have a huge roam game. Nobody downstairs in the basement. Pretty solid support upstairs on that 2F though.
Starting to get to work on some of those castle barricades. Big change with those, with that new season as well. Able to now electrify them, which we haven't quite seen yet on stream, but I'm hoping to see be a factor in one of these rounds coming up. Of course, that means Cade's going to have to be left on the board like he is now, not quite banned out. Blitz has made his way onto the top meds as they're looking to take some control here on the 2F, and they've given a lot of space over for this run, right? Allowed to just kind of maybe make your position known into master bedroom currently. Or offense.
No worries. I mean, we got it. Look at the pings coming out. So they've got some intel. Still have this defensive team playing upstairs, but look at this, the vertical in play. Man, he saw him. I thought he was going to take that shot. Not going to happen, though. Kraken sees. I mean, obviously they're going to be holding the vertical on that jump in, but man, look at this. Iron on fire. Ivan answers back in a big way, though. Look at this C4 in hand, ready. Is he going to get one? Yes! No way. Evil Clown.
No kidding. Dust settles. Blitz still alive, but does do the damage. We're into a 3-3 here, and still got some of those smoke canisters in hand, which means they're going to have some of that denial still ready to play. We've got the castle being sussed out here by the Deimos as he's underneath trying to put some blitz in place to get that pincher maneuver onto him. But as we speak, 34 seconds, it's time for the attack to get actually moving, or they're going to find themselves on a match point scenario here. Still 2 canisters in hand, which means the stall-out game here from the smoke is going to be absolutely huge. Deimos now, knowing that they've got one up top, means they're going to have to just get in and take that space. A shotgun here.
What a
He's gonna
shot!
get taken off the board. His rival's able to get some with the body shot. The plan's starting to go down. Here's the big look. Packers able to take Regan off the board, and now it's all going to be up to Nas in a 1v3 post-plant with a shield on board, which means we are looking at potentially getting this one tied up. Envy not quite out of this one just yet. Does find one. Nas takes Packer off the board as the headshot rings through, but now we're going to have to deal with some of that vertical as well as JJ's made the rotate up top, and we've got a prone position, and he finds it now into a 1v1 scenario. The question is, does he know that he's up top? He heard it. He looked. He can't take the shot just yet because it's all shield duty. Maybe underneath. He's not really enough time to do it, so is going to go for that potential long arm. He's going to go for the stick, now pushes up. That's going to be the
Got it!
blitz, but he doesn't have to make the play. He doesn't actually have to take any shots just yet. Just deny, and JJ's going to close out that round and tie us up.
That kind of patience is what you're looking for. No, I don't have to run at you. I just have to get you off the bomb for, 1, 2, 3. Okay, yep, that's it. You're done. All right, you can't play the game anymore. Well played, well executed coming in. Envy have tied things right back on up. They're ready to move on. Keep on going forward. I do love and I do want to emphasize Kraken C's teammates, their players, their recognition of what's going on, and Evil Clown specifically. It's the second time throughout this series that Evil Clown has done something that tells me this guy's got good game knowledge. This guy's got good player recognition skills. What he did when he was getting pressed by the blitz wasn't, I'm going to challenge this blitz. No, he immediately snapped to the doorway behind him to know that somebody was about to be moving behind this blitz. I'm going to knock that guy out instead and gets the 1-for-1s. There were great 1-for-1s throughout the earlier round. You know, one guy dying from both sides at the same time, keeping the man advantage nice and even. It still benefits the defense, understanding that Envy, the offense, has to push into you. But everything kind of just fell to the wayside.
Yeah, they did a great job of checking off the boxes. They took the space needed. They were there for the engagements, and then once it fell apart, once that lurk roll didn't quite pay off, then in a 1v3 scenario, you're here with a blitz still being utilized against you. The spearhead's still there. It's a good night's sleep tight, and with that, Zek, we find ourselves tied up 5-5. Now Kraken starting to feel a little bit on the back foot here.
I mean, when your opponent ends up going round after round after round after round, I mean, you go into that second half 4-2, you had a good advantage, you even won some off of that, you win at 5-2, and now it just seems like Envy is pulling it right on back. They're understanding those kind of pieces that they're looking for. Now, coming in round number 11, they're still running this blitz. It has been the spearhead of their offense. A lot of players dying left and right here or there, but they still have this shield moving on forward, getting in your face, being an absolute nuisance, and there are guns behind it. They're getting on site, they're getting these plants off, they're forcing Kraken to respond. Information on top of it too, still with that Tokebi going and locking down whoever they need to, try to find their own game for the Kraken Seas. It's gonna come down to how well they can bunker down and pick this apart. And honestly, I want to say take out this blitz.
Blitz is the key, and it's not necessarily because of the op. It was JJ playing that. We called him out, said he needed to get active. He pulls off 3 that last round playing the blitz. Absolutely on fire, and oh no, tragic play for the defense as they go for the C4. They miss and they lose their shield as a result and walk right into JJ's sights, taking down Rican. Man, what a play, what a turnaround we've seen from Envy, and specifically JJ now 4-5-1.
Man, one thing that we do know about JJ is he can play a damn good shoot. Right, he can get that info. He's not afraid to take the gunfights, and here it is. He's going to be rewarded again as the double kill rings out, now putting the defense into a real tough spot. A shotgun's there, but it starts to see some disorientation as the Sophia gadgets come in. Plant starting to go down. All the while, the defense has no idea. Jaeger gets taken off the board as Glass is able to find him one through the smoke, through the fire, and now added into the pain. Somebody still stuck outside, but man, is now in a tough situation. Now, when you were looking at potentially locking one away against a pro league team, you're in a match point potential scenario. Ooh, with Ivan quick peeking, not afraid to take the shots. Headshot rings out, and geez, it's a good night's sleep tight. We're gonna give them a flawless as they go on to match point.
Lean, clinical, heading on to match point. When we thought they were down, they said down, yes, but not out. Indeed, Envy ready to pull this one on and through, close us on down. And I honestly feel like JJ is going to be in my DMs going, huh, you were talking earlier? Yeah, when I was 0-5, yeah, you were running your mouth? Yeah, look at me now. What is he, 5-5? Like, he just pulled it right on back, running through and just being an absolute menace once again. He's all right, like you said, I'll get active. I'll do it. Just watch.
Just watch. That seems to be the name of the game. This one going a little bit more closer than we had originally anticipated, and maybe not necessarily because either team is playing well or bad, just the nature of, I think, the map at this point, and Envy's certainly
Attackers have located a bomb.
Match point scenario. We got to see him be perfect for one, Zek. What do you do in this scenario? You've got that Pro League Smite experience. You're down in the numbers. The time's not on your side. It's a best of one where you have to be perfect. What do you do here? What's in their columns?
I was gonna say maybe we bring out something to react towards this blitz, but obviously JJ deciding he's gonna go elsewhere.
10
Right now, I'm
seconds
gonna
remaining.
obviously wait for the next 10 seconds before he decides to switch to change his mind again. But I was thinking bring out this Ella. This was the first thing I was about to mention. And as now on the Ella, you were bringing out this Goyo as well. These are two operators who we haven't really seen a whole lot of, or really at all, throughout this series. These are going to be able to handle those kind of shield operators very heavily. And I think that's why we saw JJ switch off this blitz. Okay, Envy's recognizing on the fly, making quick adaptations. I'm not going to stick onto this operator when they're bringing the counters to it, because Kraken are recognizing that this is being an absolute linchpin. This is being the spearhead, the push through that Envy was using towards their success. We'll see if the adaptations, though, come into play and Envy can close this one on out.
Bro, this is not just match point. Match point, map point, and quarterfinal point here in the SI Last Chance Open Qualifier number 1. 2 teams, only 2 from those 64 teams that started off in the bracket this morning are going to get the opportunity to move on to close qualifiers to take on Dark Zero, Oxygen, Cloud9, and the winners of the NA T2 tournaments E6 and E5. Man, what a great day it's been so far. Kraken Seas has got to come alive, though, in this last 2 minutes of gameplay, or their run through the SI Open Quals are done.
Yeah, man, you got to get through Envy, but imagine you do. Imagine the Cinderella story of beating the T1 team and putting yourself in a position to take on more for this qualifier. Oh, okay. Maybe thinking that potentially the C4 is going to run out. Well, he throws the 7 charge in. Oh, they're just taking space, and they're doing it nice. Ivan's on for the quad kill. About to put himself in a position to potentially get that ace, but he gets taken off the board. Now it's going to be the solo play up in Library. Grenades everywhere. Blitz everywhere. Run. Team Envy was just playing around a bit. They did it for the stream. The Chalet goes to them, and they continue on that run in the LCQ.
Man, that is 4 rounds in a row. 5-1 half there for this team to close out Chalet. Attacker-sided, absolutely, but they came alive. JJ came alive. This team came alive as it got down to the end of it, and honestly, they played a hell of a good game. I think Kraken Seas put up a great fight, and man, they made it interesting all the way to the end, but Envy shows up when they had to in this best of 1. 7-5 victory. Congrats, gents.
Yeah, we said very clearly, Kraken, they came out swinging out on the offensive side of the map. They took offensive advantage 4-2. They were looking really great throughout the first half. But the question we had at the end of that first half is, what happens when we switch sides? What happens when Envy goes over to offense? What kind of pressure are they going to bring in? How are they going to get in our face? JJ was sitting there throughout, I want to say, 8 rounds of the map going, what can I do to get active? What can I do to get pressure? What can I do to get in their face? Get in their face. Oh, blitz.
A solid call. And
Yeah.
you know, if I'm Team Kraken here, here's what I'm taking away: is we more than doubled the rounds any team has put on Team Envy in the Last Chance qualifier, right? So if I'm going Team Envy makes it into this qualifier, who in the world do I have to compete with on the second one, right? If I can put these rounds on Team Envy, I can take this thing the whole way through and be that single team on the other side of it. So yes, it is defeat, but there's victory in that defeat, and that you showed that you've got the capabilities to get it done. So a valiant attempt by Kraken as they ultimately fall to Team Envy here.
And I know somebody asked it in the chat to explain the format real quick. So just to talk about it, Last Chance Qualifier, there is one in each of the regions. Here in North America, 1 spot for SI is open here for the Last Chance Qualifier. 1 spot in each of the 4 regions. So how do we get there? Open qualifier today here in North America, qualifier number 1, where 2 teams are going to join that closed qualifier portion. We can put the link up for Liquipedia as well, but the teams that already have an invite, Dark Zero, Oxygen, Cloud9 coming out as the bottom of the T1 Pro League teams that aren't in the relegation spots, like Envy and LFO. And then the 2 T2 tournament winners, E5, and that's going to be Alix, the guys that won back on E5, and then the winner of E6, which is coming up this weekend to be played on LAN in parallel with the regional finals. The team that wins that will also get an automatic invite to the qualifiers. So what's left? one open qualifier, December 20th, for the final team to make it into close. So format, I know, a little bit confusing. Liquipedia's got all those details, but the big deal is 3 teams get to make it to close qualifiers, and it's going to leave potentially 5 Pro League teams fighting for one last chance qualifier spot here in North America.
Man, when you say it like that, Run, feels like we've got some big Siege games coming your way. And speaking of, we're going to see if we've got some more, right? We've kind of run through the bracket today with Envy having some pretty dominant performances on those first couple of maps, a little bit longer here on this one. But we got to see is there's more Siege left to play. So do us a favor, get your snacks, get your drinks, sit back, enjoy the other streams that are bringing you the last chance qualifier as well, while we figure out if we can bring you another couple of games today or not. So sit back, relax, because when we come back, we're going to talk about it. Ayo.
Let's go.
Back, fellow Siege spectators and players. We are here for one more match. You asked, we got it. We're going to send it. Run, are you ready for one more?
Let's go. There was a question, was the quarterfinals and semis going to be played tomorrow? Are they going to be today? And the answer is today, my friend. We got to get the quarterfinals done with to set up the best of 3s to qualify to closed tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. But before we get there, my friend, Envy continuing their run, taking on WBZ.
Envy has been really putting in a great run, I would say, so far. It felt like we had some good feelers back over on map number 1, way back around number 1 of this tournament. Round number 2, it felt like we were seeing Envy just kind of come out of their shell. That last one that we saw versus Kraken, I felt like it really put Envy to the test, understanding that things are really going to be turning up each round that we get on in, and now going up against WBZ, I mean, just take a look at the roster.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of names we have seen around the scene before, but relatively untested. And this is kind of a big test to come up to. Run, here's the deal. I think part of this is going to come down to which map we play, right? Where is that battleground going to be set? And is that going to give WBZ the most advantageous situation going forward? So let's figure out where the heck we're going.
And I know there's a lot of shallow fans in the chat. WBZ answering back in a big way today to show up for their team, right? They want to see them in Paris at SI. They've got a long road and a lot of pro teams, though, to get to that point. Envy looking to continue the reason that they belong in Pro League. But you said it, where's the battle going to happen? And you know what? Devastated. We're not going to see Fortress today in SI Open qualifiers banned every time. Envy is, got a little bit of no surprise there for them to ban Outlayer. And I think from the Fortress side, we were hoping that maybe the pro team would be set up and ready to dominate, some of these D4 teams coming in. But not going to happen today. It's going to happen on Clubhouse, which honestly feels like a great pick for them as well.
It's really going to bring out the aggression of these two teams to determine if what we've been seeing all day is going to stay tried and true. I mean, we come out swinging like we were just saying. Shields are the spearhead. These guys are moving forward. They are bringing the dominating force for the offense. Then comes the hard breach. Hard breach changes. Hard breaches have moved to the forefront of everybody's mind, along with the side then of breach denial. When hard breach is in the play, breach denial is there right there to back it on up. But the shift, the tide, it's turning, and information is on the rise. Gather that, because our gun skills are being put to the test when people are running and gunning, when they're getting in your face and they're moving quick. How you can pull the trigger and if you can start clicking heads is going to be determined very swiftly.
Well, you've heard it said, Clubhouse is the map where good teams go to die. Envy put on quite the showing the last time we watched this played, and you know what? It's an uphill battle for WBZ, right? They are definitely coming into this as the Cinderella story, the ones who potentially could upset the T1 team. Now, do they have a shot? Can they actually do it? Well, some of the fans in chat sure seem to think so. So I'm going to start to lean into that. We're going to see the story told by the bands right now.
Bands coming on through. We do see, like we were talking about, there's Hard Breach, there's Breach Denial, both off the board. Hibana and the Kaid. I honestly, you know what? Just show me Blitz and Ace right now. I already know it. Do we need the countdown timer? Let's see it right now. Here comes the second set of bands. Bandit and Ace. I said Blitz, didn't I? I meant Bandit in my head. I really meant Bandit. It starts with a B. They both have a yellow icon. Let me have that one.
You know what? It's yours. Take it. Your prophetic call on the bands are going to hold true here for Clubhouse.
Staying true and running it on down. Now going on down. Church basement for our opening round. Things that did make it on through. As a result, though, gonna be looking at Mira. Gonna be looking at a zombie. And look what got picked up right off the rip. Once we jump on back in, is going to be Mira and a zombie. Two very staple pickups, like we were talking about, the mobile site maker with the zombie, able to put up those Kiba barricades wherever she wants. Mira, we don't need to play in the site. We just need to be able to have a vision in the site. We'll swing where we want to. You'll have those Koyos sitting over on the wall to watch the default plant rushing on in. Probably from dirt, which I do expect a team like WBZ-wise to pull off. And then, information is in the hands of Envy. They have that Valkyrie to get those cams up and start moving around. And then Mute, just a little bit of a denial right there. You know, we were talking about the Mute earlier, like, hey, are we Mute in this economy? I guess the answer is yes.
Objective is to locate a bomb.
Well, when it comes to Clubhouse, one of the staples that you know will be happening is those that play the game at a higher level are going to have Mute up on the second floor for a basement. Why is that? It's because here's what normally happens, right? You know it's a basement site. You're going to get in. You're going to get your drones in and make sure that nobody's up on the second floor. Then you're going to take that verticality on the first, and then you're going to get yourself ready for the execute. When you put a Mute up, when you put dedication and investment into the drone game,
look at this!
Look at this. Quickly in, a C4 is going to ring out, but it's not going to do any damage just yet, and that's going to be Mike W to take Shallow off the board. Packer able to answer again, now with Shotgun close as the Grim Bees are there, but not quite going to be enough to get the job done. Trying to put themselves into blue, but Generator's going to die to JJ as JJ's now good for the double, and what started out as a very aggressive approach by by WBZ, is going to see us alone in a 1v4, and only a 1v4 because of the TK that rang out on the aforementioned Mute.
Yo, where's the claim in chat to pick that one up? Envy goes crazy here to start this thing off. Looked like WBZ wanted to be a little bit aggressive, playing super close on that secret window, going for a 3 jump in, 2 shields simultaneous execute downstairs in dirt and on the secret window, but Envy was ready for it. They were ready for it and completely shut down WZZ here on round 1. Somebody said they would be shocked if they win a round, but hey, they've made it all the way to round 4. They've made it to the quarterfinals. This is, honestly, one of the toughest teams that you're going to have to face in this bracket anyway, so time to show up if there are any.
Allow me to add a WBZ to the tongue twister book. It seems like it's going to be messing us up all night right now. Oh, all series, I should say. WBZ versus Team Envy. They were able to hold on down. They seized the aggression, and they knocked down the members of WBZ. Now they're going to be taken up to the second floor. Jim Benjamin, look at the setup. 1-to-1, -1 with the Warden. Okay, so we got a little bit of a different operator in here. Someone who wants to swing, someone who wants to get aggressive. I'm likely going to be seeing Mike W on the roam. We talked about him being a pivotal key figure over on this Envy roster throughout the night, where it seems like certain times we're starting to see a little bit of strife in Envy, and all of a sudden, the light at the end of the tunnel was Mike W.
Attackers are moving.
Wild Boys went for a wild approach, got shut down. Let's see what they bring to this second round as we take it up top. Zach, do you think it's going to hang on to some of that same aggression? It didn't quite get the job done, but it set some pace early on. Imagine, however, if they get that initial kill and they're able to flood down into sight, we could be looking at a bit of a different story.
Exactly right there. I mean, the Blackbeard got on in, and he was right in the face of the members of Team Envy sitting there. And I'm right there with WBZ. I'm thinking, not really thinking, that he's all by himself, that he's not got that backup. But Team Envy, they're answering in kind with an opening pick right there, keeping their man advantage.
Well, first goes down. Cooler going to be left 0-2 through the first. Ivan to take one as well as Xiaoho, the hero of the Twitch chat, goes down as well. Quickly finding Envy in a place where they're a 5v3 run. Feels like it's getting a little bit tough here for Wild Boys right out the gate.
Yeah, they're really able to open up one of those sight lines up on the main breach, but other than that, I'm struggling to get anything going at this point. Really not able to enter the building even to really put pressure on this Envy defense, and they've done a great job of holding on to Secret, just blocking that all off. Nothing really happening over here on the Jacuzzi side. Honestly, Wild Boys, I feel like they're approaching this timidly, right? You're in a fight for SI. Obviously, you need to try and find a way to whether or not it's being aggressive, but I mean, you got to find a way to win, and it feels like they're having to reevaluate the strategy and slowing down just a bit.
Well, reevaluate away, and in the end, you still got to find 3 picks, try to determine how in the world you're going to go forward, at least in the next round. I don't want to count a round chalked or a GG's on the round or anything yet, but a 5v2 is tough, especially JJ's going to just keep swinging. We're going to see one answered back. Mike W goes down. That is going to, of course, find us into a 4v3 scenario, and now it's just going to be sharks in the water, right? They smell the blood. They know exactly where he's sitting, and it's going to be run out, run out, run out all the way until they duck, goose him.
This is just clinical Envy right now. They're playing this defense exactly how we saw them at the end of the last one. Actually, you know what? This is reminiscing me of Bank right now, okay? They're feeling themselves. And what happens when Envy's feeling themselves? We get runouts, we get spawn. I can't even say we get runouts. These guys are just like booking it outside. They're camping outside. They're just like, all right, cool, let's just pitch a tent. We're going to be starting out here. Can we start in your spawn? Are we allowed to do that? I think that's what Envy's trying to do right now.
Well, it's a good way to win the round. Just take them before they get into the building, right? You just demoralize it right out the gate and can't even get close, and then you find yourself history repeating it. Then you're in a 5v2 all of a sudden again. So,
Defenders,
Zach,
protect your
is the
bomb.
question is, do you tone back the aggression on the attack side? Does Wild Boys maybe take a little extra second to start that drone process, maybe try to get a little bit of intel to act off, or do we just hit it pedal to the metal?
Let's see. Really nice, honestly, a flying V formation. Just go in from a single point, eliminate your avenues for this spread.
10 seconds.
Maybe a more direct approach might actually be kind of interesting for WBZ wise. It'll switch things up, something that Envy's probably not too familiar with, because when you think of Siege, okay, I want to spread on out, I want to approach from different angles, I want to sit there and try to make something happen, but honestly, maybe weird works sometimes. And I'll be honest, not maybe, some weird works sometimes where you can just post something like that out. And that was kind of the point that I was trying to get at earlier on Clubhouse, where we saw a team in Pro League on SI do exactly that, just run straight through dirt, because they realized that the defense is moving around, looking for these spawn peaks all over the map, playing aggressive defense. Right, let's show you how we can run it straight down your throat and just go straight for sight.
Man, I was just taking a look at the bracket too, just so if you use the bracket command in chat if you want to take a look and see which teams have played out, where have they played out. But Wild Boys definitely got bracket blessed, no doubt, to make it all the way here to the quarterfinals. Most of the teams they played almost unknown even on the T4 side of this league. So you had teams like the XF5 roster who had to play LFO in the first round, or Sons of Ares that had to fight them in the third round. I mean, both of those teams making it into Element, playing T2 level Siege and struggling to get out of the first or third round, where Wild Boys, got a bit of a gift, so they get the opportunity here, but it is a very difficult matchup here against Envy when it's come down to it. So they're not out of it yet, though, as Mossy shows us, taking down JJ, who is having a significantly better game than he did previously, sitting at 5-1. Clubhouse is his map.
And just want to say a special shout out to Sino. Thank you so much for the raid. 45 of you coming in. If you're here, we're on the last game of the day for the last chance qualifier. Do us a favor. Go check him out. He's one of our favorite casters, bringing you all the heat from T4 to T1. Sino, our GOAT. Go make sure you give him a follow and help support that stream going forward. Appreciate the raid, homie. Okay, Run. All down to the Sens here. 3 speed, couple of grenades in hand, and a DMR to try and save some face here. Take another look outside. It's going to be coming from all directions, especially once they get the exact figure out and where he's at. Got somebody outside, so now he's getting that constant reminder on his screen that somebody's going to be there. He's going to take that first shot, and that's going to be the double ringing out. Now on pace for the ace, and you have to be to get this one done. A little bit of a slowdown here as he's trying to find that next pick. This next one going to be absolutely crucial. 29 seconds in which to work. All the canisters except for one, Sans one, still into the hands of Packers. So Denial still avenue that they can approach. He is sussed out by the camera, which means the defense can just really hold on here as that pressure from the red starts around. It's a prone position, a shotgun in hand. Hop over, and Packer with a one-tap says, good night, sleep tight, and back to the lobby with you.
You might be a 3-speed Sense, but how fast can you run from the defensive envy? It's just like, okay, cool, let's keep on going, let's turn up the dial. They're showing life, though. They're getting these picks. They're bringing it nice and close, but they're not able to get to that even point even with Envy. These guys are just running out on you. They're getting these quick picks, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we got man advantage. And now normally when you're playing, you're like, all right, cool, we have man advantage on defense. Let's kind of just chill a little bit. They got to come to us. We can play time, no problem. That is not the case at all. I feel like Envy is just, all right, we'll keep you like further on your heels, push you back, you know, oh, he's falling back on it. Okay, cool, we'll knock you on down. We'll just run right through you. Thermite and a zombie going to be your next 2 bans right here. So some more hard breach off the table, leaving you really with Maverick and some can openers, and then the Azami, that mobile site setup, gone.
Yeah, just cutting down on your options to even get into the building. It's just going to make it more difficult for the Wild Boys going forward. Right now, we got to rely on some of those can openers. Now it's Vaultin. So how do you adapt to that, Zek? Like, what is going to be the strat? We talked about slowing down. We talked about setting pace. Honestly, it's just we're getting outclassed here by Envy, and it's not a bad thing for Wild Boys, right? This isn't like the Wild Boys are the worst team. You're going up against a T1 team, right? So you're going to have to think out of the box just a little bit here, do some stuff that we haven't quite seen before. I think the adjustment, bringing the Ying out, bringing the Capital, could be really good here for Wild Boys.
Ying the Capital, you know what? Let's go for an execute style team comp. We're going to get in there. We're going to knock them out, and we're going to try to get a nice swift plant off. That's what I'd like to see from WBZ, from Wild Boys. Come on, how can we push this forward? How can you push this agenda? Right now, Envy is setting the pace. You need to find something that sets the pace in return. It needs to be either a stopgap or it needs to be a counter pressure of some way. So, ticking on into the round. Will we see that from Wild Boys? Will they push on through? And quite frankly, I do believe they're all over on the outside.
Yeah, when you take a look at the bans, right, from the Envy's side, they go for the hard breach, right? We've talked about whether or not teams want to play fundamental siege, whether or not they want to play very structured siege, or do they want to have to manage on the defensive side, you know, a little bit of that chaotic, this execute style, little cheese op play. And I think Envy can manage that really well, right? When you don't have the sight lines, when you have to force yourself through doors and windows, even if you have a Capital and a Ying, you can manage that through, you know, extra intel with the Mira. Having the Scopos on board forces you into very tight situations, and that's exactly the kind of stuff that Envy's very good at. So this certainly plays into Envy's hands, and I think it's going to force the Wild Boys into like making sure that they're very, very coordinated on their use of all this extra attacker utility, because they're not going to have the sight lines in play to try and take advantage of catching, you know, an angle on Envy.
Couple of shots ring out, and when the dust settles, it's going to be man advantage back over into the hands of Envy. They claim 2 for the price of 1. Well, 2 for the price of 2. Scopos has both of those potential operators to plan, so kind of equalized a little bit if you think about it, technically, maybe. Still down, though, in the numbers, as they're going to find 1 missing for this last minute and 20.
Mace is also running the DMR, a little bit of a dangerous position there for him. Like, do you want to have the DMR potentially crash the game? He goes, yeah, I'm going to try it anyway, and it's all up to him. Ivan picks up a 4K to finish that round off. Unstoppable over on the construction side.
Maybe bringing down the DMR, you're just sitting here like, if I'm going down, the game's going down with me. We're all going down on this sinking ship here. Let me put a big hole in it. Envy, though, 4-0 right now. Flawless first half so far. Will that maintain is going to be the big question that needs to get answered, because right now they are just making an absolute statement. I do think I'm going to go back to what I was saying. I'd like to see WBZ push as a unit from a single direction. You know, it doesn't need to be a rush, but, you know, a wedge. There we go. That was the word I was looking for. A wedge play coming in from them to try to facilitate some of their things, because it's like, I can't sit there and get every single drone moving on forward. You know, everybody is spread out around the map. I got to drone that window. I got to drone that door. I got to make sure nobody's sitting there. I got to be careful about my approach. You do that all across the map, and you slow things on down. If I got one person who's coming forward, two people who are coming forward, and maybe 3 or 4 people making the rush to at least take some position on the map to gain some control of the field, then cool, they move forward, the other 2 move forward to follow up, and it just becomes this rotational of gain information and take position.
Doing a pretty good job of that, I imagine. Well, at least Envy is. They've got themselves set up over on the gym business.
Oh no.
I know, but you know, I mean, we got to have a little fun here, right? If we're expecting Wild Boys to just come out and absolutely dominate the field against Team Envy, well, I mean, that's just not a scenario that's going to happen, right? Can we see where we can learn and grow from this for the next Qual? Can we take some good stuff away from this Envy game? Absolutely. They've had some good moments, right? They've had some moments where they're claiming that man advantage, where they're answering that aggression with aggression, and it's started to work out here. Envy is just playing Envy at the moment.
Well, and one of the you know, was talked about in the chat too, and we were sort of focused on the gameplay. But I mean, all of the kills from that previous round were happening upstairs, all of that second floor. The incredible play by Ivan to pick up a 4K in construction with a basement bomb site. Right? They couldn't even, from the Wild Boys side, couldn't even really get downstairs into the basement. And take a look at this. They go for the C4, and he's able to down. Man, what a play. Certainly Envy is playing super aggressive right now. They really don't need to at this point, but when you're ahead 4-0 and, you know, taking the game maybe just a little bit unserious. Look at this. He was going to try and reinforce late. W.
You gotta love that. Numbers get equalized now, of course, as we find ourselves in a 3-3 scenario, as a bit of a run out's going to happen. Rival's going to take Badger off the board. Now the numbers start to dwindle yet again here for the Wild Boars as they find themselves in a 3-2 scenario. Zek, why don't you come in here and walk us through this last back half of the round here?
Back half of the round. Okay, well, right now, as we see, Envy are, doing kind of the traditional. They're feeling good. They're going to be moving on forward. They're getting in your face. And I laughed at that. I'm going to go for the late reinforcement play coming in from Envy. Stuck outside Jacuzzi, though, is going to be Mace and Cooler. There's a mirror window set up right there. They're holding this on down. They're not able to even get past it. Look at them sit around the corner. Rival and Mike are just... they're cuddling up in the corner. What is this? Hey, that's good teamwork. They're best friends. That's what that is.
It's camaraderie. Yep, that's brotherhood right there. You're able to post up basically on top of each other in the corner. That's trusting your teammate right there. That's what Envy has.
33 seconds left. I mean, there's an opportunity here for an execute. They've got, all right, basically no execute utility left in pocket. The no more Capital bolts. No more for... Okay, no way. Cooler wins that?
Drop into Logi, but it isn't going to go much farther than that. Ivan's there to say, nah, I don't think so. He's going to shut that down, and now we find ourselves in a pretty difficult spot if you're Wild Boys. It's 5-0. You don't want to go down 6-0 in the half. It's, you know, I'm not going to say it's insurmountable, but the reverse sweep is, you know, almost unheard of, even at like the T1 scene. So unfortunate that Wild Boys are putting themselves in that position, but let's get one on the board, right? Let's get something to work off of. Let's take one and then settle in on the defensive side.
I think, too, if you take that one, it's a mental thing for you at that point. You're looking at it, okay, even through the adversity, even though it really feels like right now, I mean, it doesn't really even feel like, it looks like it is. Envy's walking away with this game, running away with it, sprinting away with it. They're moving very swiftly, taking that one. Is going to be a good mental breather, a nice stopgap in their pressure. You can look at this and go, okay, what can we learn? Get 2 more rounds, honestly, against a team like Envy, so you can look at the next one, okay? I'm not saying, you know, plan to lose this. That's not what I'm saying at all. If it comes down to that, if you can't manage this reverse sweep right now, you've got to be looking at Qual 2, and you got to understand that this is the amount of pressure that you're going to be getting when you get up to that T1 slot. When you do find yourself against DZ, against Cloud9, against these, against G2, you know, you're going to find teams who are moving swiftly like this, getting aggressive, and well, doing this right now.
Well, they're going to stay aggressive being the key word there. They've already got some idea. JJ's going to find his life forfeit as there's a bit of troll here going on in Clubhouse. They're watching for it. They're waiting, and it's all eyes on. Here is both Ying and Monty are making sure that they don't get absolutely demolished. Going to open up with a Gon 6 onto that castle barricade, which means another little bit of the site's going to be opened up. Now it's going to be on Wild Boys to start putting the work in. Can they find that first?
Seems like they should be able to, but oh no. Chalet was able to find one, but not really a big enough impact. I know he got a little bit of praise early on, but that was his first pick of the entire game at this point. Mossy, the guy to be watching out for. He's sitting at 5-5. He's at least making some things happen. Still's got 4 of the Candelas in pocket, so they've got plenty of execute utility here. But and look at this, another late round reinforcement coming out from Packer. Perfectly played. He's able to take down one mirror window, kept one in pocket, and look at this, is going to be able to, yes, deny the can opener by mirror tricking, and what a play. Like, there no angles, no entry into this building. I'm forcing him through the doors and windows and dominating as we get into the final half of this last round.
Well, Flash is going to ring out towards that catwalk. Packer's going to find Badger off the board, now into a 3-2 scenario with 1:20 left, and all the pressure starting to focus towards that potential catwalk area. And there, fire rains out, and again, one goes down. Glaz is going to be rewarded as now he gets into that 1v2 scenario, able to finally get Packer completely off the board. So a little bit spread out by the defense. I don't want to say it's the best position Wild Boys have been in to find themselves around, but it definitely is that 1v2 scenario that can be dealt with, especially here, you know, on any given Saturday. Smokes ring out. A little bit of a bait here as they're trying to see if they can get him to drop down or make somebody to run out, but the default cans are still up. And that is just kind of a mark of how this has been going almost in its entirety of the match.
He's only got a couple seconds left before this smoke runs out, and he's going to be completely visible to defenders. 20 seconds left. What can Glaz do?
Yeah, he's going to try to do a little bit of peek in. But I don't think they're going to give him any sort of... he's trying to give him a health. Oh, my Lord. Rival. Absolutely trolling on the outside there, and he is going to hit him with...
He got it!
With that stem, he got him on it. Pays the price for it. They're not going to let this last one go. Doc stims the enemy. He dies for it. Rival goes up 6-0. You know, at least you can tell, at least this will one be able to tell the grandkids about. Back when I played comp, I played against Team MV in the last chance qualifier.
Yeah.
Quick peeking the dock stem. I freaking love it.
Yes. Just playing whack-a-mole with him with a dock stem. Like, oh, I'm over here. Oh, I'm over there. You know, popping his little head up, just trying to knock him on down. So, you know, Glitter, where do you go from here right now? You're 0-6 right now against Team NV. How do we approach this? You're on defense now. Is a bunker down strat work? Do you want to go for some aggressive style yourself? How do we want to rip this apart? I know I'm trying to put it out, but I'm looking at this too. I'm like, man, where do we... I mean, just flat out, where do we go from here?
Well, you know, I think you have a little fun with it, right? Is the last potential round going out. Yeah, you might get smoked 7-0 by a T1 team, but, you know, it's honestly going from here, it's just trying to find something to grow on, right? Find those points, the takeaways that, you know what, yeah, we got a little bit of clowned on, you know, yeah, the stream would be able to laugh a little bit about the doc stimming me in that gunfight, but there were some good points to it, right? This MV is playing in some trolley type situations, making it a little bit more difficult for Wild Boys as well, but there are some good points to take away from that, especially going into Qual number 2, where MV probably is not going to be in that in that bracket.
The thing that I want to take away is if you're looking at it from honestly any team that has played against Envy today. We've seen and we've talked about people
Attackers
taking
need to locate
1v1s against Envy,
many bombs as they
swinging as
can.
one unit against Envy in these scenarios on defense while Envy's playing aggressive offense. Look what Envy was doing throughout the defense. I want to even go back to that first round, okay? Where we saw the Blackbeard jump on through the window, go and try to run it down. All of a sudden, there's a second body there. That's what we're looking for from teams. And if anyone's going to be taking it as well, honestly, there's plenty right there in the bomb. Swinging as a unit, moving as a team, doing things as a team. Even when they're running out, there's a second gun on another window, getting ready for the same, prepping for that. They're doing it as a unit. It's not just some spur of the moment type thing. I'm going to be cheeky and see if I can get away with this. Yes, there's a lot of that. Don't get me wrong, but there is some semblance of cohesion there, teamwork there on top of it as well.
What do they do?
How can we make our nonsense as clean as possible? I think that's the way I can word that.
I mean, they can certainly take advantage of Envy being, trolling a little bit. There is ways that they can manage around that. So, and if they pick up a few rounds, right, that'll just completely change the tone and style of this game. But the problem is that you still have to take on a team that's very good from a fundamental standpoint, from an aim, from a just straight mechanical skill perspective. So they're going to be able to find 1, 2. All right, sending us into a 3v4 scenario with JJ down already. So it's really a 4v2. This is not what I think the last round of this game, though it certainly could be. Will the Wild Boys move on to 6-1, or is this the final round of the SI Open qualifiers for them?
JJ is down this 2v4, but they're able to find another one. Ivan yet again capitalizes on some killing. Now seeing Packer move up, renowned for his shield play, is going to start to put the pressure on as the spearhead starts to take up some of this critical space. A quick pre-fire isn't going to amount to anything, and a back turret almost spells devastation for the defense. But as they get that third player back up, we find ourselves 3-all on this match point scenario.
Oh, I wanted to see the Wild Boys put a little bit more aggression on this thing. I mean, Envy has basically been able to gain complete control of construction side. Now they've got the bedroom side. Monty is here. Oh, is he gonna? All right, we talked about reverting limb damage. Ubisoft has as a result. That wouldn't necessarily have been the play, but the Wild Boys do pull it off from a double from Badger there at the end to put one round on the board. W play from the Wild Boys.
You're getting those early picks. Envy ended up bringing it on back. They moved as a unit like we were mentioning, but you're still looking for those kind of opportunities because they will be very slim opportunities, such as the back of a Monty, just poking out from behind a mattress, something like that. There goes your spearhead. There goes that forward. Diffuser's on the ground in sight. And Envy needs to push on into 2 barrels pointing at a single doorway. Good luck. Obviously, it ain't happening right there, okay? He's not going to be able to manage both players at the same time. And we do see WBZ pull around themselves. So we do get to go an extra round. Cool.
Attackers need to locate and detect bomb.
Get one more on the board. There's a growing process. Now take it down to the basement. Ideally, one of the better sites suited here to try to keep your defense alive. My worry is that we might not brought enough of the slowdown capabilities, right? One of the things that probably is going to be a guaranteed is either JJ or Packer is going to go on a shield. They're going to take some space, and they're just going to full send it here for this last one.
Yeah, JJ, we saw it earlier where I want to think back to Chalet where he was having a little bit of a struggle and he ended up finding solace in the Blitz play. Blitz obviously banned on out here. It seems like W-Wise was like, yeah, you know what, Wild Boys don't want to really deal with that kind of thing, but the Blackbeard's still available to him, still an aggro shield. We're seeing what he was doing with earlier in the night, honestly, or day, I should say. Not night yet. Throughout the day today, playing these aggressive shields on the Blackbeard, and we want... Yeah, the spearhead, you're going to be popping opening tanches with the Hibana. You're finding right now that the options for Wild Boys are starting to get closer and closer to smaller, I should say, is better.
JJ just messing around. Looking at the floor, exposing his head behind the shield. Yeah, they're just trolling. They're just throwing right now.
We do get the answer back. as we sit 4-all here, 2 minutes, and start opening everything up. Still got a semblance of the normal way to play the basement round here. Take some of that space and a prone position, actually double prone position. Snaked out on camp. Maybe they're doing the snake strat.
Man, 1:35, the last 1:35 potentially in the Wild Boys SI open qual run. Are they going to have an opportunity here to make it to the BO3, force Envy to play in the weekend, next weekend, or, man, are they going to find a win? They're going to lose this one. The ADS picks up a shot, but well played from Shallow downstairs, taking down Ivan, puts him in a 2v4.
Well, definitely winnable for the Wild Boys here. And now starts to see stuff popping off. It is going to see Shallow go down. And, of course, Mace gets into that low health scenario as well. So technically down into a 3-2. And now Packer off the board. He's able to find him again as well. And that's going to be the TK that rings out with the Goyo fires. Now puts us into a 2v1. The problem is Mike W's on the other side of it. Mike W for president. Mike W for clutch to end this one potentially out. He's going to find that onto the triple kill. Now into a low health cooler as he tries to keep his dreams alive against T1 Envy. Mike W represented right now. 30 seconds as it starts to count down.
He's running the Hibana DMR, looking for the crash. Who's going to win the DMR battle, dude? Mike W for president, my friend. He has got this.
Diffuser is starting to go down. Force a retake scenario here for Cooler, and now he's got to become the aggressor. Attackers become defenders. Defenders become attackers. You got to take on the president now to try to bring this one back. 7 seconds is all he needs. 1 kill to get it done. He starts to go on to the hunt. Impact rings out. Nobody behind there to take that battle just yet. Mike W on the body shot. It's a new DMR, and the presidential run of the W continues.
7-1 victory for Envy. No surprise there from the people that know how good this team is, especially in its latest iteration. But Mike W cleans up at the end, clutches up a 4v2 scenario. Well played, though, on both sides of the map. A little bit of trolling there at the end, but you know what? Honestly, I think the Wild Boys had a good time getting their opportunity to play against the pros when it came down to it, man. You got to take that opportunity and run with it. And they may not have won, but I'll bet they had a good time.
Back when I played competitive in other games, it was taking those kind of opportunities to play against better and better teams, even playing against pro teams. We got fundamentally dismantled, okay, even worse than Wild Boys did against some pro level teams over there. And we looked at that and we're like, wow, we really have a lot to learn. And we took a step back. We watched those. We got better. We made improvements. I know Wild Boys are going to look at what happened, look at what's going on, see where their holes are, how Envy was able to take advantage of that aggression to really put the offense in a difficult position all throughout that first half. I'm just saying, it was that being able to cover for your teammates while moving fluid. It's aggressive. There was no silliness in it. I'm not gonna lie. There was a lot of silliness in a lot of it, okay? But when they are moving it, they're moving as a unit and they're trying to cover their corners as much as they can while still going for those aggressive plays.
Well, I mean, there's just T1 doing T1, right? There's just no doubt about it. When you're going to a map that's all about fundamentals, well, they got there for a reason. Envy is just going to be better in that situation, and they proved it, right? No surprises on that board. It was a valiant attempt by Wild Boys, but just not quite enough here in Qual 1 to get it done. I guess we're going to take a quick little break and find out if there is any more Siege or who's doing what and where we can go, or if we're going to keep it, all the who, what, when, where, and why of what's going down here in this last chance. So sit back, relax, because when we come back, we're going to talk about it. Ayo.
Let's go.
What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. Well, no more for the double shot today. Unfortunately, our Siege run for Qual number 1, day number 1, is going to find itself at an end. Run, what you thinking, my friend? It's been a great day for Siege.
Yeah, it sure has. And we are down to the final 7 teams in this case because Envy took down the Wild Boys. So you had the Wild Boys taking on Envy in one of the quarterfinals. The 2012 Miami Heat, which is Aimkey or LeBron's team, taking on LFO, also known as Nade Shot. Those guys, that game's going to be played out tomorrow. And then the Awe and Land of Ooh, great names, honestly, playing out, and we're going to raid over to those guys in just a moment, and then Moneyball Skyline going on. That one's being played off stream, nobody in play. So the rest of the semifinal matches will be played out tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, back here on the channel on Siege Double Shot to see who is going to qualify for the SI Open Qualifier closed finals, which that one's a mouthful.
Definitely a mouthful of a tournament. You just got to spit it all out and get it all out there. But man, there was a lot of Rainbow Six Siege action. It opened up my eyes a little bit to how I got to be playing the game, I guess, in my own ranked game, so I don't, bring down these guys when we were playing. Yes, yeah. Yeah, you brought me on here to, hey, you see that? Make sure you do that next time we play ranked. Thank you very much. Don't need to be a carry project, sitting on the bottom of the board, bottom bragging. No, it was great games. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more, and I'm looking forward to how day 2 is going to be going. I'm going to have all eyes on that as well to figure out how things are. But honestly, I'm gonna, if you don't mind me saying, just thank you both for having me on here. This has been a phenomenal time.
Happy to have you. It was a blast. And chat, do yourself a favor. Casts a lot of Rocket League, Siege. Go check out Zach on his channel. Go check him out at CCL, where he does a bunch of casting as well for a bunch of different games. Ex-pro Smite player, so game sense on point. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on for the stream today, Zach. You called it, Run. It's it. We're here. It's done. We have reached the dreaded part of the evening where we must, alas, bid you adieu. So as the lights start to dim and the jukebox starts to sing closing time, as always, my friends, you don't have to go home.
But you can't stay here.
Ayo.
Let's go.